We're back!
2.
Episode 2 of the Freezing Gamers podcast. Welcome. I'm still bad at the intros. I'm still bad at the fucking intros. To be fair, it has been pretty cold.
I've been inside playing games because it has been so cold out.
Yeah. So, I guess we just hop right into this. I don't know. I'm still shit at the intros. It feels so unnatural.
Yeah, it's, well, how the hell do you start a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, usually you just talk for 20 minutes and then hit record.
Yeah.
But we just have to keep jumping into it.
Yeah, right? I think for now, we'll kind of figure out as we go. But, yeah, I think we might as well start this off to just do we hop right into it?
Yeah, it's been a slow 2 weeks for news.
Like, we've only got 6 points here instead of 8 from last time. Although, to be fair, the first time we did it was it was 2 weeks late, right? Yeah, it was 2 weeks late, so that was always going to be a bigger episode. So yeah, let's hop into it and talk about the absolute shit show that WB is. Did you read the Jason Schreier article?
I did not read the Jason Schreier.
Okay, let me just pull it up, just so we have, like...
I do know what it was talking about, though.
It is a mess. It is a mess. So, a few years ago, what's their name? Monolith Productions, the people behind, Middle-earth. Not the Xenoblade guys. Those are Monolith Soft. But, yeah. Jesus. This is a horrible start. It's a horrible start. My brain's just, like, not functioning. Right, obviously, they announced Wonder Woman. Like, 4 years after Shadow of War, which itself was kind of controversial. Did you play Shadow of War?
I did. It wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah, I've kind of heard that. To be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first game anyway.
Well, they went back later and took, like, all the microtransactions.
I know, I'm not talking Shadow of War, I'm talking Shadow of Mordor.
But,
it was okay, but I don't think it was, like, crazy.
Like, Shadow, I think it just hit at the perfect time. There's nothing else around it.
True, that I can think of. 2014 had fucking nothing.
So, like, I played that game so much.
Yeah. But, I mean, WB announced Wonder Woman, which was a bit weird because, like, do we really need a Wonder Woman game? I don't know. And it got weirder when they said it would be a single-player live service game using the Nemesis system, which is a whole bunch of buzzwords.
Yeah, it'd be like... How would the Nemesis system work in a superhero game?
I don't know.
You, like, lock them up and they get back out?
Yeah. It was always very weird. But apparently, the game that got announced will never come out. Because basically nothing has progressed on it. It has been rebooted last year, has already cost more than $100 million, and is still, like, many years out. It's probably a PS6 title.
If it even comes out.
If it even comes out, which it probably won't. So, I mean, right off the bat here, bit of a mess. It's just a bit of a mess.
Warner Brothers, they haven't been making good decisions.
No. I mean, the most famous Suicide Squad was atrocious. Really, really bad.
Multiverses got announced it's shutting down like a few days ago.
Yeah.
And that was after years of development.
Gotham Knights exists, I guess.
Which apparently they wanted to do another iteration of it, and that got...
Yeah, it can overhaul, I heard that, yeah.
So, like...
Apparently WB Games Montreal were working on a game based on The Flash, which got cancelled as well.
So, like, they're canceling all these projects. The ones that get through come to market and nobody likes them.
Except for Hogwarts Legacy, of course, which was huge.
Yeah, but that was always going to sell like gangbusters.
True, it wasn't particularly good, in my opinion. I never finished it.
I think I maybe have 2 hours left in that game, and I haven't finished it.
I played about 10 hours, I think. I don't think I got very far.
Like, I'm right at the end, and I have no desire to play it. It just kind of sits in my Xbox library staring at me.
But, they did say that, Rocksteady are now working on a new Batman game, a new single-player Batman game. Which I had also heard that before this.
I mean, great. Isn't everybody gone?
Yeah, that's the problem. They had huge turnover.
Everybody left.
Yeah. They had pretty big turnover during the development of Suicide Squad. Just massive turnover. And that's where we're at with this. It's just
depressing.
It's very depressing. Well, what a great start to the podcast. This sucks, this sucks, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, you can talk about the good stuff they did.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny that I just talked about Multiverses, everybody not liking it and shutting down. It's like the beta back in the day, like, 2-3 years ago, everybody loved it. And then they changed everything about it. And, it kind of fell on its face. Like Gotham Knights.
Hogwarts Legacy sold 34 million copies.
I could see that, yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous. It outsold COD. And nothing outsells COD. Even Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't outsell COD that year.
Well, that's the power of the IP, right?
Of COD, yeah. Oh, you mean Harry Potter, yeah.
Of Harry Potter, yeah. Like, Harry Potter's huge.
True.
Like, to this day, Harry Potter's huge. So, like, yeah, I remember even, like, when Gotham Knights was announced, people were excited for it.
Yeah.
Right up until they did that.
It was
like 15 minutes of gameplay. You remember that? They dropped it. And I think I messaged you that day, and I'm like, dude, this looks terrible.
I have actually heard the game is okay. But I didn't play it because I heard the performance was terrible at release.
Yeah, the performance was bad. I wasn't a big fan of the gameplay. Wasn't a big fan of the characters. It felt like an idea that should have been left alone.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do 4 characters at once. maybe start a little smaller.
Yeah. But
I honestly think that they were banking on the name power of having all of them there, and it kind of backfired.
Red Hood and Robin and Batgirl,
Nightwing and Batgirl, like having them all, having the Gotham Knights.
None of those are crazy big names.
Well,
They're just
after
side characters.
After Arkham Knight, I think Red Hood got a lot more love.
I guess.
When comics have always sold well.
But Rocksteady, after the Suicide Squad fuck up, they are working on Batman.
They gotta save.
They're working on Batman. Dude, if that's bad, they're probably done. Yeah.
It's like when we talked about BioWare. If Mass Effect doesn't hit,
we trust me. We're gonna talk about BioWare. we got more to say on BioWare, but yeah, it's a mess. Why am my brain's just shutting off? This is not good.
Yeah, that's when you're because especially you. Because you like the Batman game so much, and you like Rocksteady's really work, that this almost hits you different. You're like, Jesus, I've been playing these games for well over a decade.
Yeah.
And now it's all kind of falling apart in real time.
Yeah, because, like, I remember the first couple of trailers they showed for Suicide Squad looked really promising. And obviously there was all the live service talk. It's like, oh god, how are they going to handle that? But, like, I trusted Rocksteady to figure something out. And then there was that state of play. About 2 years ago. A year before the game came out. which showed, like, basically did a deep dive. And it was, like, within 30 seconds, I was like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. This isn't good.
I think I was just howling on that stream.
Dude,
like, it was... No way.
It was brutal.
It's gonna be terrible, and then, you know what?
It was even worse. It was even worse. Like, they didn't even get the story right. And, like, that's kind of the thing they've most been good at.
Well, now it's the funniest thing, because you can talk about spoilers to Suicide Squad. Nobody's gonna play it.
Yeah, it's not. Actually, just in general, I think we just avoid spoilers on the podcast. I guess we're, like, in a specific spoiler section. Or, like, a special spoiler podcast for something that came out. I don't.
It's just all so pointless, though.
Sure, but just... Yeah, but that's kind of... that's about as vague as we keep it, I think. But, yeah, that Batman game is, like, years out. Just like Wonder Woman is years out, because that got rebooted last year. Batman's probably even further out, because it didn't even start development until after Suicide Squad came out.
Well, and Suicide Squad takes place in that universe,
it does.
Right?
That's going to get fucking retconned. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way they keep it.
Although, to be honest, I actually kind of hope this new Batman game isn't Arkhamverse. Just do something new and different. Keep the gameplay, but...
Just do Batman Beyond.
That would be cool, yeah.
Just do Batman Beyond. There's plenty of other Batmans besides Bruce Wayne. I would go so far as to say Batman Beyond's better than normal Batman.
Would not go that far. Hogwarts Legacy is... They're making a sequel for that. So...
That's gonna hit.
That's gonna be huge. I don't think it'll be as huge as the first one, though, because a lot of that was, like, pent-up demand that had been fuck all with the IP since Deathly Hallows Part 2. Like, there were a couple of Fantastic Beasts movies, but those were apparently terrible. So... I don't think it'll sell that well.
What, Hogwarts?
Yeah.
It's gonna sell well.
It's gonna sell well. I just don't think it'll sell as well as the first game.
I think it'll sell as well, if not better.
I don't know, because, like...
There's something about putting a 2 on something that just gets people to buy it.
I don't know. My gut feeling is it sells well, but not as well.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a game that just came out, Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance, I think that outsells the first one.
Yeah, that's different though. It's like way more niche.
Like, I think like Halo 2 outsold Halo 1.
Right, but think about Hogwarts Legacy. It was like the first Harry Potter thing in like a decade, except for those terrible Fantastic Beasts movies.
Oh god, those were horrible, weren't they? That should have killed the franchise.
Yeah, but the point is it was like more traditional Harry Potter stuff. I know it was like years before. I think it was like 100 years before Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
When was it set? The 1890s or something?
Yeah, it's like early 1900s. Late 1900s. Or sorry, late 1800s.
Yeah. And the movies are set like modern day, right? Like the Harry Potter movies. Yeah, modern day at the time.
And the 90s were when modern day was at its best.
Yeah.
The games were actually good.
But yeah, the WB Montreal apparently pitching a Game of Thrones game.
The biggest problem with Game of Thrones as a franchise is that you cannot base it around when the books take place.
Well, yeah, because the books aren't finished.
Well, it's not so much the books aren't finished, it's that the show ended so horribly, people are not going to be interested.
Yeah.
And who the hell are you going to play as?
True.
If you set it during the same time period and you're not playing as one of the main characters of the books, you're playing just a worse version of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It'd be like making a Star Wars Episode 3 game where you play as a clone trooper who's on, like, relief duty. You don't even get to shoot the Jedi. What's the point?
Yeah.
So it could be promising. Who knows? Maybe they set it like 100 years before, 200 years before, or something like that. But
there's apparently a Constantine game that WB Montreal pitched, which didn't go far.
That sounds horrible.
A Flash game that didn't go far. WB Montreal have actually probably been as much of a shit show as like anybody else.
Yeah, what have they released really?
since Arkham Origins, the only game that actually came out was Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
And Arkham Origins was 2013, by the way. That was an Xbox 360 title.
Yeah, they probably worked on, like, Gotham Knights. That's about it. Like, it's a shit show. You got, like, 400 people sitting in an office. They made one game, and then the second game just shit the bed.
And then Gotham Knights wasn't even a success.
No, Gotham Knights came out to mixed reviews and then sold poorly.
Yeah, I don't think it sold well.
Like, I think the highest score it got Metacritic-wise off the top of my head was high 60s.
High 60s for Gotham Knights? Yeah, I think it was like... It got like Avengers level scores. Like, not a disaster, but not like good.
Oh god, I remember the Avengers. I remember when that was announced. It's like, that'll be dead in a year.
It was dead in about 6 months.
Yeah, like a live service superhero game just sounds terrible.
Yeah. It was weird. I was actually kind of optimistic for it. And yeah, no. The thing is, it was Crystal Dynamics, who were like a very good developer.
Yeah. That's what I mean. When it was first announced, I was like, oh, like a single player game where you play as all these different superheroes, that kind of sounds fun. And then once I heard like, oh, it's live service, it's this, it's that, I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the death nail of a game to me.
So, speaking of Arkham, should probably bring this up real quick. Because obviously, you know, my game of the year last year was Batman Arkham Shadow. Which, by the way, apparently, like, half of Camouflage is former Rocksteady employees. So, there's a reason it was so good, and it's because all the people who worked at Rocksteady just went over there to make a proper Arkham game, rather than whatever the fuck Suicide Squad was. So... And you can kind of tell when playing it, too, because, like, there's a lot of parts of it, it's like, okay, they get it. Like, they get it. However, despite pretty universally positive reviews, I heard it sold okay, but it hasn't, like, moved MetaQuest hardware in the way that they were hoping.
No, well, it's hard to convince people to buy a VR headset.
Yeah, and
even if they already have something that can do VR. Yeah.
And Meta have very much struggled with trying to get people to buy their hardware. It's not been going great for them.
$4.3 billion in 3 months.
Yeah, what was the total for the quarter? It was like $17 billion or something?
Something like that. It's a ridiculously eye-watering number.
Thank God that Zuckerberg just has like more money than he knows what to do with.
And he likes VR.
Yeah. Because, like... And, like, Meta are the only like, people that are still really doing VR. Because Sony pulled out of it, because PSVR 2 was a disaster.
Well, and that was, like, whenever they would announce VR stuff at any PlayStation show, like, that was just the bathroom break.
Yeah.
It's like, nobody's gonna play this.
Yeah, so it's a real shame that, the mess... The meta mess, if you will.
The sad thing is, I have a PSVR 1. I don't even know where it is, and I don't care to look for it.
The only VR headset I have is a MetaQuest 3. I only bought it to play Arkham Shadow. It was worth it, by the way. Excellent video game. If you're listening to this podcast, go play Batman Arkham Shadow. It's fucking incredible.
If you can, you could probably rent a MetaQuest 3.
Not probably. But, you know, that sounds...
Like, do you think you'll ever put on that headset again?
Yeah, but we get Batman Arkham Shadow 2. Let's go.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the next Batman game.
Yeah, basically. But, at some point, shareholders are going to come knocking for this stuff. I am worried for the future of VR, honestly. I have a feeling it's not
gonna go the way of motion controls.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, motion controls are kinda still alive because of the Switch.
Kind of. A little bit. I don't think I've used a motion control in a Switch game ever.
I don't know.
Like, I'm trying to think, maybe kind ARMS? Of... Like Mario Party?
ARMS, that was a game that exists.
ARMS actually sold well.
Okay, but like, were people happy with it though?
No.
No,
they put Min Min in Smash. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Oh, God.
Nobody's asking for ARMS 2, man.
20 minutes in, we've kind of already done a third of the topic, so... Which might be for the best, because if this is only like an hour 45 to 2 hours, then...
Especially in a slower
yeah.
news week, most of this podcast could get taken up by just talking about what we played.
Which, in fairness, I do have a couple of things to say on that, so... But
we talked about WB. Now we get to talk about an equal shit show, which is EA.
Oh my god. Okay, first off, I'm gonna say, I don't think there's any shit show in the industry. And like, it feels like everyone's kind of in a bad spot. But I don't think there's anything.
Unless you're from Central Europe or Japan.
Yeah, CDPR are doing okay. And Capcom are doing very well. But like, even in Japan, like Sony are a mess, Square Enix are a mess. It feels like everybody's just kind of a mess right now. But I think WB are a level above that. Like, they are a fucking disaster. Like, they are a fucking disaster. But yeah, shall we pivot to?
Are we gonna do an official tier list of shitty game companies? It's like,
how much does everyone suck?
Who's getting the top bill? Is it Ubisoft, EA, or Warner Brothers?
I think Ubisoft is second, and I think WB is first,
and EA third.
Yeah, which is a great segue because obviously in episode 1 we talked a fair bit about Dragon Age. And the report said it did not sell very well, like 1.5 million players, which obviously would include at Game Pass trials. And now they've apparently laid quite a few people off at BioWare. Like,
pretty much all the writers are gone.
There was a statement that they made that was like, we're moving everybody to other positions in the company while we scale back to focus on Mass Effect. And apparently that was just bullshit, and they have actually just fired people.
Yeah, a lot of people got let go.
Yeah, apparently BioWare is under 100 people now. Which is a bit surprising to me, because I figured that they would kind of be pretty far in on Mass Effect, because they announced that 4 years ago now. But no, they were all hands on deck on Veilguard, and now Mass Effect's probably like 4 or 5 years out.
Yeah, not the hands to have on deck.
Jesus Christ. But all of this is irrelevant because the fucking moron at the head of EA, Andrew Wilson, said that Dragon Age the Veilguard failed because gamers increasingly want shared world features.
Deeper engagement. High quality narratives.
I cannot believe how fucking catastrophically that is a misreading of the room.
The only way I can justify his words in my head is it was an earnings. And you can't just come out and say the game was dog shit.
Well, you can.
Like, because it scored high.
Yeah, true. Its critic reviews were actually decent.
Like, critics were hailing it as the greatest game that came out that year, and then it just failed on.
No, I don't think it was ever getting any Game of the Year shout.
It was getting 9s.
I think it got like an 81 average.
Getting 10s.
The one review from that embargo day that I watched was SkillUp's, and he tore into it. He hated it.
It was a big shift between like all these different reviewers.
Yeah.
It was either a high 80s or 90s, or it was like, this is dog shit.
Which I guess is just kind of the nature of a divisive game.
Like, Eurogamer gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, what were the Steam scores for? It was like a 71 or something. I don't think it was like tanked or anything. What's the Steam? 69.
Games
69.
Radar gave it like a 9. IGN gave it a 9.
Yeah. But obviously it did kind of get caught up in the culture war stuff, which kind of sucks. Although
because it ruined talking about the game itself.
Yeah, and the game itself, it's weird because like the game itself kind of leaned into culture war stuff, so it wasn't helping itself in that way.
No, it wasn't.
It's not like, Assassin's Creed, which is just getting it's got nothing to do with a fucking culture war, but it's just getting just shoved into it. Veilguard, I mean, we've all seen that Tash clip, right? Me, you, anybody listening to the podcast, we all kind of know what it is.
She was the worst companion, too.
Yeah. Look, I haven't played the Veilguard, so I'm not going to comment on like the rest of the writing or the gameplay or whatever. But what I do know is it certainly did not fucking fail because people want shared world features. And I know why he said that.
When I first heard that, I thought he was talking about world states, which is your Dragon Age world state.
Oh no, he means Suicide Squad. He means Marvel's Avengers.
And
he means
second that clicked in my head, it's like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, the thing is, the Veilguard
actually began development as a live service.
Yeah. It got rebooted multiple times.
Yeah. So I wonder if he's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Maybe we should have stuck with Plan A. It's like, okay. Have you seen Anthem? BioWare have already done a live service. It fucking tanked.
It didn't work.
So
I think Anthem would have worked if it wasn't a live service. Fucking multiplayer shared world bullshit.
It had some cool ideas, but just the game design, the mission design just wasn't up to snuff.
Because think of all the time and energy that had to go into making the game like that to support it being a live service.
Yeah. I mean, it was in development for like 6 years, Anthem.
Like, that's gotta be a swift kick in the nuts.
Yeah. But I do worry that Mass Effect will never... The new Mass Effect will never actually come out.
It is in the back of my mind that it's just not going to happen.
Because, I mean, BioWare have never been huge in terms of the amount of employees they've had. They've only ever been at about 200 people. But they have less than half of that right now. They are down to less than 100 people.
I will say, if Mass Effect does come out, and they do say that the indoctrination theory from Mass Effect 3 is true, which I've been arguing about with people on the internet for like a decade, I will buy 10 copies.
Okay.
I will buy 10
just
copies
so they prove you right.
And hand them, if they prove me right, I will hand out copies of Mass Effect in the street like a preacher. Talking about how they're geniuses.
Yeah.
That's the only way they can save their company.
So
proving a dumb theory right. So no, I hope EA doesn't try to shift single player games that they have in development, if they have any in development besides Mass Effect.
I mean, EA did a big pivot after Jedi Fallen Order was successful, because like EA were basically shifting their entire company towards live service, but making one exception for Jedi Fallen Order. And Jedi Fallen Order was huge. It was a big hit. So they kind of shifted back, and like you had the Dead Space remake, you had Jedi Survivor, you had Dragon Age: The Veilguard, they had It Takes Two, which I guess isn't single player, but it's very single player like in its design.
It won Game of the Year, didn't it?
It did, yes. Which obviously the new one, Split Fiction's coming out in like a few weeks. Yeah, which I would like to play that with you, by the way, if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
But
sounds like fun.
That'll be... point is, they had a big focus on single-player games for a while. And, like, Jedi Survivor did well. It was a pretty big hit. But I believe it actually sold better than Fallen Order did. In the comparative time frame.
Yeah.
But Dead Space kind of tanked, despite very positive reviews. Veilguard tanked, despite pretty positive reviews. And now... they are all hands on deck for Battlefield, because there's the new Battlefield coming out at the end of this year. They have like 4 or 5 studios working on this, including the people that were making the new Need for Speed. Need for Speed's on hold right now because they are just dead yacht focused.
That means that the driving's going to be good.
I hope so, yeah. But Battlefield has to hit. EA's never going to collapse because they have fucking EAFC, which makes them fucking billions of dollars every year.
Well, and they have a very extensively huge library of games.
They do.
That people still play and buy.
They do, but like the vast majority of EA's revenue comes from FIFA Ultimate Team. Yeah, or now like EAFC Ultimate Team.
They're never going to go under.
No. But you do wonder if they're basically going to pivot towards just being a sports publisher.
Get out of the single player.
Yo, Battlefield has to hit for them. Because Battlefield 5 bombed. Battlefield 2042 mega bombed.
They made it a hero shooter.
God, Battlefield 2042 was such a mess. I reviewed that. Like, I put a lot of hours into it to fully review it.
And I can't believe what they did to it.
It wasn't good. Wasn't
like how
good.
They made Battlefield 3. Do you know how good Battlefield 3 was? Battlefield 3 was so good, they put a 4 on the end of it and re-released it. That's how good Battlefield 3 was.
Except they kind of fucked up BF4 at launch, of course.
Oh, the launch was horrendous. But even Battlefield 1 was fantastic. That
Battlefield 1 was a banger, yeah.
Like, that was a fantastic game. And then, I don't know what happened. Like, something changed.
A mess.
The games got worse.
Beyond that, Motive is still making the Iron Man game. We heard of that a few years ago, and I don't know what the fuck's going on with it.
It's going to be a live service.
Apparently they're working on 2.
Oh, God.
They're working on 2 Marvel games. I remember I heard a rumor of what the other one is, but I can't remember. I think it might have been Daredevil or Deadpool. Something beginning of a D.
Did they publish the first Deadpool game?
No, Activision did.
Probably
It was High Moon. High Moon Studios, who are now just like a Call of Duty support studio, because they all are over there.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I really hope that Microsoft buying those studios would get them to actually make cool shit again, but no.
Well, we're still pretty early on.
Yeah, but none of them have shifted any staff off of Call of Duty. It's just... They did create a new studio based in Poland who are making a single-player narrative-based game.
Like, that's what I mean. Microsoft will probably take the IP and give it to other studios. Keep the Call of Duty guys making Call of Duty.
But the thing is, like, Raven Software or High Moon Studios, these are some fucking talented guys. And it kind of sucks that they're going to keep them on the Call of Duty machine because Call of Duty is now very core to Microsoft's revenue. As Microsoft Gaming's revenue.
Problem with Raven Software is that they were some of the key guys on Warzone. And that was that's like, congratulations, you are now the Warzone guys.
In fairness, they do still make the Call of Duty Black Ops campaigns. They made the Cold War campaign, they made the BO6 campaign.
Which were very good.
I haven't played BO6 yet, actually. Still need to get around to it.
It was very good.
I have heard that. But shifting focus from the EA disaster to the Sony mess, who themselves are not doing particularly great.
They laid off a bunch of UI guys.
Yeah, that's... I mean, obviously that sucks. I'm not going to pretend like that's not terrible. But not particularly relevant to the end user. The more pressing Sony news is the CEO stuff.
Yeah, the guy... to one CEO.
That's actually kind of being misreported a bit. The guy who was the head of PlayStation was Hiroki Totoki. And he's basically been promoted to CEO of the entire Sony company, right? Below Totoki, there was Hideaki Nishino as the head of PlayStation's hardware business, and Herman Holst is the head of PlayStation Studios. This has kind of been reported as Herman Holst being demoted. That's not really the case. It is Nishino. No, his role hasn't really changed at all. He was reporting to Totoki, who himself has been promoted to corporate CEO. And now Nishino is taking into Toki's old role. So, instead of reporting alongside Nishino to Toki, he's reporting to Nishino. But that's not because Herman Holst has been given, what's the word? He hasn't been demoted. It's just that the other two have been promoted. So I presume they're going to have somebody else in as the head of PlayStation Hardware. The Platform Business Group.
And hopefully they release some games that are, like, good, besides Astrobot.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a great way to pivot, because they did announce this morning, actually, that there is a State of Play tomorrow.
Yes, which we decided to record this podcast the day before the State of Play.
Yeah, typical. But typical.
Which I think is going to just be the norm, because our last podcast we recorded the day before Sony switched up their entire structure.
Sony are just going to announce the news the day after we record.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, yeah, I will say I don't expect crazy stuff out of our State of Play.
What can they show? Ghosts?
There is Ghost. I think we'll see something of Ghost, maybe like a gameplay demo. Do we think we see a release date? I think it's too early. I think it's like end of the year.
I think they have to show a release date.
You think? But if they show a release date, it's not going to be further out than like the summer.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's not going to be the summer. I think it's going to be the fall.
I think it'll be September.
Maybe? I'm thinking more like November. But I've also heard that that's kind of when they're targeting Death Stranding 2. Which I actually figured that would be like the first half of the year. I've now heard it is not. It is like end of the year. So, I don't think we see a release date for either of those. I also don't think we see Death Stranding 2 at all. Honestly. My gut feeling is we don't see it.
Well, the biggest PS5 game was announced like 2 weeks ago. Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, we'll get to that. You're jumping the gun a bit there, pal. But
Tiny bit.
Do
we see more of that in the State of Play? Oh my god,
that's what I was going to say. Do we see Microsoft announce games at State of Play? I bet we do one day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we see it yet. I mean, they already showed PS5 listings at the Xbox Developer Direct.
Like, if I am watching a State of Play and Marcus Phoenix shows up with a chainsaw gun, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? That's when it throws me off.
If we see anything, I think it'll be like an avowed port. Or maybe we see a release date for the indie port. Because that's in, like, April, right?
Yeah, we could see indie. We could see...
You know what? I'm going to say we do see that. I'm going to say we do see the release date for the Indiana Jones port. Probably also see for the DLC. No, we're just in spring.
It'll probably be May. So then there you go. You got two more PlayStation games. You got Forza and Indie.
It is funny that Microsoft are putting out way more PS5 games than Sony, yeah?
And Sony. Sony doesn't need to worry about games anymore.
No, because Microsoft have basically gone full Sega.
Yeah, they're just going to start releasing things everywhere for, more money.
Yeah.
Like, Forza Horizon 5 is already a massive hit on just Xbox and PC. You're discounting however many millions of consoles that are out there, right?
The PS5?
Yeah.
It's
once
crazy
it's on the PS5. Like, what's the highest selling racing game of all time?
It might be Forza Horizon 5, actually.
I think it's Forza Horizon.
It might be Forza Horizon 5, yeah.
Okay, do we count Mario Kart?
Yes. There's obviously Mario Kart then, yeah.
We're never beating Mario Kart.
No.
Ever.
That is objectively a racing game, so.
But we could top Gran Turismo. That's 17.3 million is Gran Turismo 5.
GT5, okay, not GT7.
Yeah, GT7 I don't even think it's on the list. 6 only sold 5 million copies. So because the Sim Racer kind of fell out of favor.
Yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of arcade races than sim races.
Yeah, like unless you're insane like me and have a wheel and watch F1 a whole bunch.
Do you think we see RE9 tomorrow?
When was the last time we saw it? Heard about it?
We haven't heard anything about it, but it's been a couple of years now since RE4 remake. It's been almost 4 years since Voyage. I think we see that. I think we see that, yeah.
Oh, God.
Obviously, a couple of days ago...
RE5 again. That's...
I hope they are actually
controversy.
I hope they are working on our... I heard they were working on an RE5 remake. Which is...
Yeah,
oh boy!
I'm excited to read the same articles that I read back in the day, just with the date changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were there for the release of Resident Evil 5.
It was... Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a little crazy.
But, I mean, beyond that, the Snake Eater remake just got a release date of, like, August something. It was, like, August 20th? August 28th. I'm gonna
play it. I hope they don't change it.
They're gonna fuck something up with it. There's no way they don't.
But you don't have Kojima's crazy hand at the wheel, so...
Dude, yeah, it was so funny when they revealed it, because, like, Kojima just posted a picture of a sandwich. He just didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck.
Which, like, I moved on. Now I make a game about walking and babies.
I will play it, right? I'll play it. I'll probably review it. But it's gonna be weird. I feel like it's gonna be even weirder if it's good. Because, like, if it's good, it's like, yeah, this is pretty great, but also, like, they're completely doing this without Kojima, and it's like, oh, okay. If it's bad, that's actually kind of easier, because then you can just kind of dunk on it for being shit.
What was that game they released without Kojima? The, like, zombie
Metal Gear
game.
Survive. Jesus fuck, that was atrocious.
It was terrible.
That was mega bad. That was so bad they exited the video game industry for a few years.
Yeah, like, if this game comes out and it's basically just a remaster...
It's like an graphics. A UE5 remake, yeah.
Yeah, and we keep, like, the same gameplay. We keep the same everything. It'll be perfect. Same story.
Yeah, sure, but it will be great, but it will also be, like... Why does this exist? Apart from being a cash grab.
Well, to play Metal Gear Solid 3 again.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. It's a little bit ethically doing it without Kojima.
The thing that drives me crazy is the only way to play Metal Gear Solid 4 is on a PlayStation 3.
Yeah, that's got to be getting a remaster at some point.
It needs it.
Because
my PS3 sucks.
Disaster, yeah.
That thing does not work. It is ancient, bro. So that's... I mean, they want to do the... Maybe if 3 works minutes,
out... Which makes me think maybe we do see something of Death Stranding.
Maybe.
Because
maybe it's 20 minutes of Forza.
Are very long. Kojima trailers are very long. So the fact it's like 40 minutes long makes me think we do see something.
Nah, follow me on this, okay? They show off Forza Horizon 5, right? Right? They show it for like 10 minutes. And then...
It'll be like a 1 or 2 minute trailer at most.
No. And then, like, the developer who's doing, like, the announcement steps away from the camera and the camera pans over. It's the same developer in a different shirt. He's like, I'm proud to announce Forza Horizon 6.
There is
PS5
no way
day one.
Microsoft announced that at a PlayStation show. They'll announce a Forza Horizon 5 port. But the thing is, they've already shown the Forza Horizon 5 port. Like, there's nothing else to show. I don't even think it'll get a mention. I think if we see anything... Do we see the MCC port? Does Master Chief show up at a PlayStation event?
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think Gears of War is bigger in my mind as an Xbox IP. I would see Master Chief before I would see Gears at a PlayStation event.
No,
so
sorry. Chief is their Kratos. Chief is their Mario. He's the guy.
But in the same way, Mario... If Mario was on another console, I don't think it'd bother me at all.
Okay.
Or if Mario was used in like some other thing, like when they did the Rabbids thing or whatever, wouldn't bother me. If Master Chief shows up in Call of Duty... That was only on Switch, though. Yeah, but like if Master Chief shows up in Call of Duty, that's fine.
That'll absolutely happen one day, because they're both Microsoft IP now.
Yeah, like right now on a PlayStation, you can play Fortnite with every character ever made ever in it. It doesn't bother me at all.
Can you use Master Chief on there? Because I know you can only use the Kratos skin on PS5 and PC.
So it's one of those things where it's like Gears of War is so Xbox in my mind that's the one that's gonna throw me off.
Nah, Halo's the one for me.
It would be like if Ratchet showed up on Xbox. That would throw me off. I wouldn't care about any other. You can throw any Sony IP on anything else. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You throw Ratchet on like the Switch. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. That's a PlayStation game.
For me, the defining PlayStation guy is Kratos. But I also think it kind of varies per generation. Because, like, with the exception of Kratos, they haven't really had, like, a major long-running franchise. They've kind of moved on after a few games of most of their stuff, which I actually kind of respect. Like Sony Drake have shown commitment to making new IP, which is good. But Nathan Drake was, like, the definitive PS3 one.
Oh, I think Sony's biggest strength is that they allow their developers to make something different.
Yeah, like I just said, yeah. So I'd say the PS1 was probably Solid Snake, was the major...
Oh, for sure.
PS2 was Kratos. PS3 was Nathan Drake. No. And PS4 was Aloy. Aloy was probably like the most recognizable new face of the PS4 era. Because beyond that, there's like... Abby, I guess, from The Last of Us 2. And,
I mean, this could sound weird,
the hunter from Bloodborne, I guess.
When I think PS2, it's either, like, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
That was like, the PS2 game.
But, like, that's not first party. Well, I guess Solid Snake isn't either, but...
Yeah, I think, like, Kingdom Hearts sold a lot for the time.
Yeah, but that's multi-plat, right? At least Metal Gear 1 was an exclusive
at the time. No, Kingdom Hearts was only PlayStation 2.
Was it? I thought it was on Xbox.
Yeah. No. Kingdom Hearts is a PS2 game.
Yeah, no. The definitive PS2 franchise to me is Kratos. God of War.
I think of like Jak and Daxter. Like they're Ratchet, Jak, and Sly. Like they're platforming.
Oh yeah, they had a good platforming run, but like I don't think any of those are like associated with when you think of PlayStation, you think of this character. That would be
no,
Kratos
not
for
today.
Me.
If you asked me back in 2006...
True. Maybe I have Kratos more in my mind because we did just get 2 new games of him, and there's another one in the works. I've heard it might be another Greek one, which is weird, because I'd previously heard it was an Egyptian one.
I'd rather the Egyptian one. Egyptian mythology is so fucking cool.
I hope it's Egypt. I feel like we've kind of done enough Greek God of War. I feel like they made the right decision moving on to the Norse.
I've studied a lot of history.
They haven't done they only did 2 in the Norse.
If there's 2 places I want Kratos to go and fuck up, it's either Egypt or China. One of the 2. Because both of them have really cool
Chinese mythology one would have been cool, yeah.
It would have been sick. And then, what I guess is the PS3... It's the face of the PlayStation 3.
Easy.
It's that or Joel.
Joel was kind of too late, though. It was like they asked a year of a PS3. It was too far. Although I guess Kratos was also pretty far, but he had 2 games. He had 1 and 2.
So yeah, it's got to be Nathan Drake, and then we went that into Kratos, and now Aloy. I think Aloy is PS5 more than it is PS4.
No, because like the 8th generation PS4, Zero Dawn was pretty big. How many copies did Horizon Zero Dawn sell?
A shit ton.
I feel like the one for PS5 is Astrobot. That's the major character from that.
If you ask me because remember,
Astro's Playroom was a launch title for the PS5. It was one of the first PS5 games.
Yeah, I forgot about Astro's Playroom.
24 million units Zero Dawn sold. That's actually mental.
That's a lot for a new IP.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How much did Forbidden West sell?
Less than 10, I think.
8.4 million units in 1 year. And that was before the PC launch.
Yeah, I think it just creeped over 10 then.
No, it probably sold better than that on PC. Although, this is a good segue. Spider-Man 2 had their PC port recently. That did not go well at all. No. That has apparently been an absolute disaster, which is weird because it's from Nix's software, and they've had pretty good ports.
You haven't played it?
I played the game on PS5, not on PC.
Oh, I played it on PC.
Is it bad?
No, it's not good. It's not as bad as people are saying, but like,
I've heard that like the cutscenes don't render properly, the performance is dog shit. it crashes a lot. I've
it
heard
crashes
nothing positive on it at all.
I refunded it because I think in about an hour of gameplay, I probably had 8 crashes.
Spider-Man 2 is a bit of a weird game overall, because it's like, I enjoyed it, I reviewed it very positively, I have zero desire to replay it.
Yeah, we talk about this. It's a game where the more I think about it, the less...
Yeah, very much so. It's weird, right? Because like on a gameplay level, it's better than its predecessor. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's only like a little bit better. And the story is way worse. It's not bad, it's just kind of eh. And like, I think the reason Spider-Man clicked so much with me is because it was such a good telling of the Spider-Man mythos. And Spider-Man 2 felt very derivative of Venom stuff and Harry Osborn stuff. Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi movie, is the one I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
Because it's got way too many villains, it's got Harry Osborn, and it's got Venom. Obviously in Spider-Man 3, those were 2 different characters, and in Spider-Man 2, Sony, it's the same. Well, I guess Spider-Man 2, Insomniac, because they're all Sony. But
I used to call Miles Morales Spider-Man 1.5. Now that's Spider-Man, like, 1.25. Because Spider-Man 2 is Spider-Man 1.5. It's just
no, I think it's a sequel. Like, there were a couple of innovations to combat I thought were pretty good. The parry button was, like, a big improvement.
There's nothing... Like, if you look at the difference between a prequel and a sequel... We're going to talk about this a little bit later with Kingdom Come. But... Usually, there's such a leap in how the game.
Yeah, it was a safe sequel for sure, but it's obviously
it is the safest.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. I'm not going to argue that. Actually, that's true.
Yeah,
I hope Spider-Man 3 does something unique. Obviously, Insomniac are mostly working on Wolverine right now, which is going to be very different simply because it's a very different gameplay style, which I am looking forward to for that reason. I do hope they vary up the open world a bit, because I thought the open world of... Because obviously, it's called Spider-Man 2, but it's really the third one, right? Because we also had Miles. And like, the third run of that open world New York City with a very familiar gameplay open world formula, I feel like they really need to switch it up.
Yeah. I'm just picturing in my head right now at the end of the first mission, Wolverine being like, and here's your web shooters.
God.
Now go around rural Canada beating up, like, lumberjacks.
It'll be set in Madripoor, probably. Although I've heard it's, like, semi-linear, so maybe it'll be, like, a few different zones.
Kind of hope it's linear, to be honest.
No, I don't want it to be, like, linear, but, like, semi-open world, like... Kind of like God of War sort of structure.
Oh, that's the worst part of God of War.
What, the structure of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really didn't like it because, like, I'm a fan of the original God of War games. Like, huge fan. I played them on release.
Which are, like, very linear, right? Like,
and they're extremely linear.
Yeah.
So when they switched over, I wasn't a big fan.
I quite like the wide linear stuff that they do. Obviously, Jedi Fallen Order is another example of it.
It's like how I always say the best mission in Uncharted as a franchise is the train mission from Uncharted 2. And they never got that magic back again because they kept expanding and giving you bigger areas.
I actually don't disagree with that. I mean, obviously, like... What I'd actually say is one of Naughty Dog's best missions in all their games is the early Seattle section from The Last of Us 2. Obviously, that's A, before the story goes to complete mess. And B, it's very open. Like, very, very open. There's, like, loads of side shit you can do, but they don't even, like... They don't really tell you are there. You just can kind of go and find it out. I was obviously not particularly fond of The Last of Us 2. It is a game that's actually kind of... Like, it's the opposite of Spider-Man 2 for me. It's like, I kind of respect it more as time passes. I still don't think it's great. I think, particularly the ending was a big whiff. But I kind of get what they were going for with The Last of Us 2.
There's nothing wrong with the gameplay or the structure of Last of Us 2.
Yeah, the gameplay was always
Everything's
good. The problem was the pacing was not good.
You can switch around the story, how you play that game. You can switch it around, and people would react to it very differently.
Have you seen the trailer for the HBO season 2?
No, I haven't.
It looks very similar to the game. Obviously, what's the name of the woman they cast as? Caitlin DeVere, I think? She does not look like Abby at all. She looks more like Eggy, actually.
Well, they couldn't find Hulk Hogan's like female counterpart to...
Oh, I know why. She was the one that they were saying to cast as Eggy in the first season, before they cast Bella Ramsey. Which everybody said was such a miscast at the time, but I thought she did a very good job.
Yeah, she's good at acting.
But obviously, there's a big shift in her character from the first game to the second. I do wonder how they're going to handle, mass murder.
Her being a complete psychopath?
Yeah. Because, I don't know, Bella Ramsey just doesn't give off those vibes to me.
Complete psychopath vibes?
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, no, I don't know how they're going to do it.
I actually am planning to replay The Last of Us 1 and 2. When I do the first one, I'll play the PS5 remake, because I still haven't played that. I actually am planning to stream those before Season 2 premieres. So, I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about The Last of Us in the next few months.
I can't replay Mass Effect 2. I can't replay the second one, because I don't know where my copy is.
I have a digital, so...
It's in a box somewhere.
Although that also had like a PS5 remaster, so which is apparently a very good remaster.
Maybe that's how I go about it then. It's not on Steam, is it?
It is coming to PC.
Oh, okay, then that's how I'll do it. I'll just
which again is right before the new season, so
yeah, so that works out. I play more PC now than I do console, which is throwing me off. So I've always been a console guy.
Yeah, I do not play PC much at all.
You haven't updated in a while, though, right?
No, and I just bought a PS5 Pro this weekend, so it's going to be a while yet.
It's going to be another while before you update.
Yeah. Which I still haven't unboxed, actually. Yeah, the only reason I bought it is because Canada has a tax holiday this week. It's ending this week.
That's the story of the PS5 Pro.
haven't unboxed it, yeah.
I got a buddy, did the same thing. He went and bought one. I walked in his house the other day, and it's still in the corner of his living room, boxed up.
Looking at the upcoming games, a lot of them are either Xbox exclusive, like Avowed or South of Midnight, or day one on Game Pass, like Sniper Elite, Adam Fall, Clair Obscur, and Doom. So, Assassin's Creed's coming out. I'll probably play that on PS5. And the Metal Gear remake, which is August. That's a bit of a ways away still. But beyond that, like, I'm going to have all this shit on Game Pass. If Gears is day one on PS5, I will probably buy that on PS5, just because it would be funny. But otherwise, I'm not going to buy something that's on Game Pass.
God forbid Game Pass goes to PlayStation. That would solve all the problems.
I feel like Sony would only ever agree to it if Microsoft actually exited the console business. Because EA put their service on there, and Ubisoft. Actually, no. Ubisoft have their service on there, but it's tied into PS Plus.
Yes. Weird. Very strange.
But, yeah. So, circling back to what we were saying. Sony CEO stuff. It's being a bit misreported, actually. Like, it's being framed as, oh, look at Herman Holst. He's paying for the sins of Concord and Yego Horizon and whatever. Not entirely true. It's just people around him getting promotions.
And not him. That's for Concord.
No, but, like, it was either going to be him or the other guy, and they just chose the other guy. I don't think that's necessarily a rejection of Herman Holst. Because Herman Holst inherited a fucking mess from Jim Ryan. Concord was Jim Ryan's thing. And
I think Sony's been a mess for almost a decade. They've just somehow failed their way, like, up.
5 years. They were doing pretty well in the Sean Yaden era. Which was, like, 2016 to 2019. It was when Sean Yaden left. And funny we say this, because at the time, Sean Yaden left, and he's like, the AAA business model was completely unsustainable, and this industry is going to collapse in a few years. Everybody called him mental. He was spot on. He was completely spot on. He works at like Tencent or something now.
The budgets are getting crazy.
Yeah.
Games aren't as good. So you're not making the sales. You're not making it's
games. I'd say on average games are getting worse, but I think a lot of that is because they are chasing for live service dollar. And even the stuff that's not, they pivots from games that were, like Gotham Knights or Veilguard or reportedly even Starfield. Apparently, maybe Starfield started out as a live service. I don't know. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but I've heard that.
I could see Starfield as a live service game.
Obviously, Gotham Knights very publicly did pivot from a live service, and so did the Veilguard.
In fact, I think Starfield makes more sense now in my mind as a live service than it does a single player game.
Starfield's a weird one because at the time people were getting very hyped for it, and I'm like, I don't know about this one. And it came out, and the first 30-40 hours of that, I was actually really into it. And then the cracks kind of began to show. You kind of could tell, okay, this is just procedurally generated bullshit.
I really like Starfield my entire time with it.
I was actively miserable for 90% of the last 100 hours.
But I will say, think of what's that other space game?
No Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky.
I thought No Man's Sky was much better.
So think of Starfield, but it's like No Man's Sky. You can build a base. You
can do that in Starfield. You can't build a base. You can build a base. They can't show up because it's single player, but.
Yeah, I know, but if it was a live service game.
I said that in my review. I'm I don't know why the fuck the base building's still in this. Because obviously it's in Fallout, right? But it's just kind of there with no reason. You might be onto something here. Maybe it was supposed to be for a live service stuff and they just kind of dropped it. But they just kept the system in.
I'm thinking of Fallout 76 right now.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things I do in that game is go to other people's places.
My favorite thing I did in Fallout 76 was uninstall Fallout 76.
I like Fallout 76.
Yeah, because you're
fun game.
Dumb.
If you pick that game up on sale, listeners, for $20,
don't do it. Don't do it. No. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. 100 hours of pure dog shit.
You don't have to play anything with other people, which is the best part of that game. You can just do it yourself.
Don't listen to him.
But
don't believe his eyes.
Starfield.
Tell me eyes. Tell me sweet little eyes.
Imagine Starfield. You're roaming around in your ship. Another guy jumps into where you are, and you get into a dogfight and then invade each other. It makes more sense.
Sick, actually. That sounds sick.
It makes way more sense.
That's probably a way better idea than a live service Starfield actually would have been, though.
And you can still make it.
Do you mean
almost
invasion, like a Souls invasion?
Kind of, but it would just be I hate that I'm going to say this because it just shat on the EA guy. Like a shared world.
The world.
like 24 people or 48 people or however many they can cram in are in the same kind of server, and then you can check out other people's stuff. If you figure out where their base is, you can raid it. If you know where they are in space,
if you see it, you can go there.
If you see it, you can go there.
Oh god, but yeah.
Well, and now I'm thinking of it even more. There's certain aspects of that game, I bet you the Mantis base, because it's just a random fucking quest you can find to get the Mantis ship.
That was so cool. That's one of the best parts of the entire game.
So imagine you could sign up to be a part of the Mantis, like a clan almost, and you just track down other players that are doing pirating and stuff.
That actually sounds cool.
Yeah, I know. That's the biggest problem with Starfield.
Probably way cooler than an actual live service Starfield would have been.
Yeah, the biggest problem with Starfield is the lost potential.
The biggest problem with Starfield is the bugs. I had a miserable time with that.
You had a list.
Dude, I went back through some of those clips a couple of days ago. It's one of the buggiest fucking pieces of shit in history. Wow. Bethesda games have always been kind of buggy, but how the fuck did they even release it in that state?
I think they had to.
So, yeah, State of PA tomorrow. I feel like we do see something from Yote, but it's too soon for a release date. It's gonna be... They might say, fall 2025, but I don't think we see, a date. We see a window, but not a
3-minute trailer. You get a 3-minute trailer. The exact same amount of time Forza Horizon 5 is going to get.
I don't think we see Forza because they already showed off a Forza trailer.
They got to double it up.
I think if we do see something from Microsoft, it'll be the indie port. I don't think... I think Avowed will be coming to PS5, but I don't think they'll show it this week because it's coming out this week.
I think Avowed, unless Avowed hits crazy and the reviews are insane, I think Avowed gets quietly released onto PlayStation 5. They'll announce it on a random Tuesday.
Dropped, but maybe this is coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they'll be it'll be a Tuesday morning. I'll wake up and check my feed, and it'll be there hey, this is coming out soon.
Yeah. That's kind of what they did with the Hi-Fi Rush port.
Yeah, if reviews come out and Avowed's crazy, and it's man, this is an amazing RPG. For that
are out on Thursday. It's also coming out on Thursday for the Deluxe Edition, which I will point out, by the way, I am going to be streaming it, but not on Thursday, because I'm not going to be here. Probably Friday, I start that. So, stay tuned.
You will play it before me.
Yes, because I have got the $20 Deluxe upgrade, yes.
Yeah, I instead of doing that, I bought a physical copy of Kingdom Come I will never play. I bought the special edition, big box thing.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of jumping ahead of ourselves here, because this is kind of...
No. I'm not talking about, playing the game. That's just why I'm not,
Spoilers! This is what he's bringing to the What We've Been Playing section.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But, yeah, I do wonder how Avowed's going to be, because, I remember we were... the original reveal was, 5 years ago now. It's been a while.
It looks different from the original reveal.
I thought the original reveal looked really good. They showed it again 3 years later, and there had been a clear downgrade in terms of, the scale of it, and the visuals as well. But the previews I read... sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. That was E3 2023. I think they showed that. And I'm I don't know about this. This doesn't look great. This doesn't look fantastic. And then there was a round of press previews in, November. And they were glowing. They were, it's not going to be, a 100-hour mega fest. But, if you enjoyed The Outer Worlds, you're probably going to love this. And I'm okay. In a way, I'm kind of relieved it's only going to be 30, 40 hours because I don't have time for a 100-hour RPG right now. So,
well, I remember when it was first shown off, I was yeah, it looks cool. And then when it was shown the second time, I was this is a Pillars of Eternity game.
It was always announced as that. That was the original announcement. Yeah,
but that just went right over my head. I had no idea. So when people are going, it's scaled down, it's this, it's that, I'm okay with that because the Pillars of Eternity games are kind of scaled down.
Yeah,
RPGs.
But I heard it was supposed to be the size of a Skyrim in the PoE world, which they kind of pushed back on because they just didn't have the resources for that. It's also apparently not the A-team of Obsidian making it. Most of the people that were working on the Outer Worlds, which was obviously their A-team, are working on the Outer Worlds 2. So, This is the smaller scale of the two.
So this one's developed by good developers?
Alright, shut up. No Outer Worlds Yanda Royale.
Rename the podcast. It's the Outer World Fan Club.
The Outer World fan and some random bitch.
I still don't like that game. I tried.
Fuck you.
I tried. I can't.
You just have no taste. It's okay.
I'm excited for Avowed, though, because I really like Pillars of Eternity. I like 2 way more than 1.
I will say, I've gone from very excited for Avowed to extremely skeptical, and now it's kind of swung back to cautiously optimistic. I don't think it'll be a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I don't even think it'll be a 9 out of 10 like the Outer Worlds 1 was. But, I don't know. I think it'll be good. But we just kind of need to find out. But, yeah reviews are out pretty soon.
Thursday.
So, because I still haven't finished what I was going to say on State of Play.
Sorry.
Yeah Yote was I don't think we see a release date for that. DS2, I think we see both Yote and Death Stranding 2. but no release dates. Maybe a window for Yotei of like fall 2025.
Maybe.
It sucks because this is like 5 p.m. Wednesday. I'm going to be on a bus at that time, and it's like right before it arrives. So I'm like not going to be able to see like much of any of it. Which kind of sucks.
I mean, depends on how you... Like, how much do you care about watching it live? You can probably watch it.
I'll watch it. I'll probably just watch it when I get home, because it'll only be like a day or two later.
Yeah, so... it's only 2 days.
Yeah, but it kind of sucks, because I do enjoy streaming these things. They're a good time, but I can't do it, so...
Yeah.
If you're hoping for a State of Play stream, you're not getting one, because... 4 nations facing off! Have you seen that ad?
No, I haven't.
So have you not watched like any NHL games in the last month or so?
No, I watch it online, like on their Sportsnet app, so it doesn't show commercials.
I also watched the you mean the Sportsnet Now, whatever they call it, Sportsnet Plus, I think they call it now.
Yeah, there's no commercials on that.
Yes, there is.
Oh well, maybe.
Maybe
I just don't
it's
get
just not on the
commercials.
app. Maybe because I watch it on the Sportsnet.ca, right? So
Yeah.
but God, there's the ad for the Four Nations face off. It's the funniest thing unintentionally because you got like Conor McDavid saying, or not Conor McDavid, some other guy saying for the Maple Leaf, and another one goes for the Three Crowns, and like for still believing in miracles, right? And Sidney Crosby has 2 lines in that trailer, one of which is Four Nations facing off, and the other one is Four Nations facing off. And it's so funny because it's just
You get the goat to come out and say nothing.
yeah. And like everybody else got like for the entire world to see. It's like, and this guy just says Four Nations facing off in 2 slightly different tones. Oh god, it's the funniest ad. But yeah, that starts tomorrow, and I'm going to the first 2 games. I'm going to Canada, Sweden tomorrow night, and then USA Finland on Thursday. So that'll be fun.
And wouldn't it be Canadian if we didn't talk about going to sports games in the middle of the winter?
Oh god, I'll get to another one of that. Brrr. Freezing gamer for sure. But do you think we see Marathon tomorrow?
Oh god, I forgot. Maybe.
I think we do. I think we see Marathon. Do we see Fair Games? I doubt it. I don't think we're ever going to see that. I don't think we're seeing Fair Games ever again. That's probably going to get canned. Because like that first trailer was pretty siammed.
Yeah. Well, it looked terrible.
It did not look good. The weird thing is, like, it's Jade Raymond, who has obviously like a very good track record. I think that is what Jade Raymond wanted to make, though. I just think it like looks bad. I think she's just washed.
Kind of funny.
It's a shame, because like she was like the original Assassin's Creed. And there was another one. What was the other thing that Jade Raymond made? Obviously she did the Battlefront 2 campaign. That was a mess. Oh, Watch Dogs. She made the original Watch Dogs.
I like the original.
That was a very good game. Like AC1, AC2, Splinter Cell Blacklist, Watch Dogs, AC Unity, Far Cry 4, and then Star Wars Battlefront 2, and nothing since then.
Wait, so that was a couple bangers there.
Oh yeah, she had a pretty good run at Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And then went to EA, founded Motive.
Say what you will about Unity. Unity's story was awesome.
I actually don't agree with that. I thought the story of it was kind of disappointing.
Especially
Probably
with
the
the
best
DLCs.
part.
DLCs made it better.
And the DLC was actually pretty good, yeah. But they were making like an open world Star Wars game at Motive. That got canned. And they were also making the Battlefront 2 campaign, which did come out. That wasn't very good, the Battlefront 2 campaign. EA did manage to turn Battlefront 2's multiplayer around and turn it into something pretty great. But
The damage was already done.
actually, no. It sold pretty well.
Oh no, it sold well. It's just the player retention.
No.
not high.
It particularly around the time The Rise of Skywalker came out, it had a big boost.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen when you release a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, but like I remember everybody was like, "Oh, this is actually great now."
Yeah.
The thing with it for me is I played so much of the 2015 Battlefront, like crazy amounts. It was just kind of more of it, which is like wasn't. I was kind of in at that time. I was like onto like I was ready to move on to different shit. So, but yeah, the campaign was not great, and they never really did anything for that.
I mean, they still averaged 2,000 players on Steam, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. And this is like 5 years after they stopped doing updates, so.
Yeah. But can it beat Battlefield 4? No.
No, Battlefield 4 is like kind of still the default Battlefield, because...
Yeah, there's still like 5,000 people that play that every day. Which is a shame, because like
Battlefield 1 was like pretty great.
I think Battlefield 1's still big in Europe for some reason.
I mean... Europeans.
Yeah, it's Battlefield 1 still has 31,000 daily players.
Oh boy, and it's on Steam? Because that didn't even launch on Steam. It came to Steam very late.
That's on Steam.
So it's probably even bigger on EA's Origin or whatever.
And they announced that new Battlefield, and it got a big boost, but that big boost is only 4,000 more people.
It was like 2 million people signed up for the beta for that.
Yeah, so like, Battlefield might be back, dude.
Everybody said that when 2042 got announced, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut until it actually...
Yeah, but I didn't say that during 2042. I went, this looks like shit.
No, you didn't.
This is old Battlefield talking.
No, you were...
Wait, have you ever seen that video where they cut the trailer to the real gameplay side by side doing the same stuff?
2042? Yeah, ouch.
Yeah, it's so funny.
What a great trailer, though. Like, ignore how shitty the game was. What a good trailer that first Battlefield 2042 trailer was.
I still think Battlefield 4 takes the cake.
Battlefield 1, that's still one of the best video game trailers of all time, Nat.
Well, they showed a lot of the single-player stuff.
No, it was mostly multiplayer stuff. The original Battlefield 1 trailer.
When they showed the Battlefield 4, when they all get into the building and it blows up, like the giant tower and whatever map that was. That was so sick. That was so cool. And then you could actually do that. Like,
not at launch.
That's a big problem.
You couldn't do anything in the game at launch. It would just fucking crash.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, yeah, Battlefront 2, they did actually successfully turn around. It's a shame, because, like, Battlefield 4 launched as a disaster. They turned it around. Battlefront 2 launched as a disaster. They turned it around. Hasn't really happened for Battlefield 5. Definitely hasn't happened for 2042. Which is a shame. I've heard Battlefield 5 is better, but it's not, like, as good as any of the others.
No, Battlefield 5 is better than 2042, but Battlefield 5 is the worst of the modern others, Battlefield.
Yeah. Well, no, second worst now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
it wasn't good.
No. So... apologies if you keep hearing my mouse disconnecting. That's just...
A wireless mouse?
No, it's just the cable sucks.
You don't have a Gundam-themed mouse like me?
No, it's just a generic mouse. So I think we do see RE9. That's probably my bold bet, is RE9. Tomorrow.
I'd say RE5 remake over RE9.
No, because they just did the RE4 remake, so I think the next RE we see is the next new one.
Maybe, unless they're taking their time.
Do we see the Bloodborne remake? Because Sony recently DMCA'd the 60 FPS patch. Why would they do that? Because it's been out for years. Why would they do that if they weren't doing a remaster?
Too late, I still got it.
Or PC port, or...
If it's I'd prefer it to be a PC port over like a full remaster on the PS5 only.
They probably do both.
But like, basically, no matter what they do, it should come to PC.
Probably, yeah.
Because let the modders take it away. They can restore cut content and everything. But maybe I've been betting on Bloodborne for so long that I feel like a beaten mule.
I feel like I've never really bet on it, but I have a feeling they will actually do it.
If we see it, it'll be the highlight of probably the year for me, because I love Bloodborne. Bloodborne's the only reason I owned a PS4.
Don't know. Beyond Marathon, Yote, and Death Stranding, I don't think we see anything else in their first party. I think Wolverine's still a bit too far out. Intergalactic, they just showed off, so I don't think we see it again.
I don't know what they can even show.
Yeah, I mean, basically their big games this year are Marathon, DS2, and Yote. And then next year it's Wolverine and Intergalactic. And, like,
yes.
I feel like Sony are just kind of done with announcing things, like, ages out. Like, we're gonna only find out about it, like, 2 years-ish before release, if anything. Do we see the KOTOR remake? Because that is being published by Sony. That basically completely restarted development in 2022. So, the original announcement is now completely irrelevant. I feel like maybe it's been long enough to see that.
I don't think we see it.
Also, they have like a bunch of different partnerships with like Chinese and Korean studios, like Phantom Blade Zero and Your Soul Aside. Your Soul Aside is apparently this year, so maybe we see that. I think Sony is publishing that, sending it to Stay Blade. I wonder if we see a PC port for Stay Blade. I could see that, actually.
Oh man, let the PC guys go crazy.
Oh my god. They're just gonna mod out her clothes entirely.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. It's either they mod more clothes in or they mod more clothes out. PC goes one of two ways.
With her, it will definitely be out. Just be real. Gooner game!
I played it, like it wasn't really...
I've heard it's like actually a very good game. Like beyond
it's
the
good
stuff.
But I didn't think like, man, this is the Gooner game. I was like, this is just kind of like a regular action game.
I guess it depends what skin you put on. There's some skins in that game, but
there's some wild ones for sure. But like, it's just the dude's wife, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh man, that was such a funny time, man.
I remember that people were getting so pissy about it. Like there was a couple of journos that were like, they're over sexualizing her, and then like a bunch of people getting like really annoying the other way as well. And it's like
that was when the whole like culture war thing that was going on.
That was when it really began to kick off. Yeah,
but that's when it was still funny.
True. Like, now it's just gotten ridiculous. Like with
now it's
shadows
just sad.
They even kicked off with Intergalactic, and it's like we haven't even seen gameplay for that yet. Jesus Christ!
They're like,
and The Witcher. They did it for The Witcher as well.
I don't like the way she drank out of her cup. I'm like, y'all need fucking help, dude.
Yeah,
who gives a fuck?
It's bad. I feel like a lot of that is just kind of hate from The Last of Us 2 carrying over. Like people were always going to be skeptical of whatever they did next.
Well, it's true because even I had my reservations about it. Like I'm not. Like if you give me like what's your top 10 most exciting things for the future for games, it's not in my top 10.
I think it's like 5th on my list. It's not.
I thought the story of Last of Us 2 was so poor, just in the way it was structured. I definitely think
it was Naughty Dog's weakest, but I don't think it was so bad that I'm immediately like, oh, whatever they make is gonna suck. Because Naughty Dog do have a pretty great track record.
So I said this last week about Sony, but they go from it's over to we're so back game by game.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
So like Naughty Dog could release it, it's an amazing game and they're so back. But if it comes out and it's just like kind of okay,
Speaking of it's so over, apparently Rise of the Ronin is coming to PC, which is not being published by Sony, unlike the PS5 version.
It's over.
I only heard Rise of the Ronin really sucked, which is a shame.
Yeah,
Did we mention this on episode 1? This might actually be old news.
We talked about this, I think, a little bit.
Is there any third-party stuff you think we see?
Besides
Judas,
Forza?
maybe? Because they showed that at a State of Play. I've heard Judas is like kind of been pushed back, though. It was supposed to be like this year. I've heard it's not. It's probably 2026.
Sony always picks like 3 games and 2 of them are shit and they show them off, so...
No, it's like a 40-minute show. We're probably going to see like a fairly big variety of stuff.
So I remember the one time they opened up and there was that fucking like baby game.
What?
Yeah, but do you know what I'm talking about? Where
No.
you're like a dude,
Death
like
Stranding?
a giant baby.
Is it Death Stranding?
No, I'm gonna try to find the name of this thing. I remember being like, what am I watching?
No. I don't know what you're on about, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to find the name of it.
Apparently Hell
Baby
Is
Steps.
Us is,
Oh,
yes!
That's
It's
a 3-minute trailer.
It's the Bennett
I will never
Foddy
get
thing,
that
right?
time
The
back.
Getting over it of Bennett Foddy.
Yeah.
Those guys.
And I'm like, why the fuck am I looking at this? Like, why? And, you know, that's a game that they chose to show off to their general audience.
Yeah. But
So I think we'll see one of those. I think we'll see a Baby Steps.
Either that or like some rumored Saudi Arabian game which ends up being like some weeb gacha shit.
It's either Weeb Gotcha shit or Farming Simulator.
Dude,
either way, I'm gonna laugh.
When Western publishers figure out gacha stuff, it's gonna be so over.
When we thought Infinity Nikki was the Saudi Arabian game, that's one of the best moments I've ever had on Twitch.
That was so funny.
Because we like kept convincing ourselves that was the game. Like, yeah, this is it. This is what they're doing with the oil money.
That was so funny because like the rumored lineup for that was shit, and it was even worse.
Yeah, it was.
I used to got Astrobot out of it though, so like, Astrobot kind of single-handedly saved it.
I got 3 friends who are obsessed with Infinity Nikki. Like, that game is...
Oh, it did very well, yeah. I've heard it's also good, but also like very gacha, so no interest.
Yeah, that's the problem with gacha games, right?
The only real rumor I heard for this is Hell Was Us, which is like a shooter that showed off a while back. That's apparently coming out in September.
Ugh, that made me yawn.
It probably won't be that bad. That Fatal Fury fighting thing, probably.
I like Fatal Fury. I mean, they could show it off.
Your Soul Side release date tomorrow, reported you.
A what?
Oh! Jez Corden! Hellblade 2 announcement at State of PA tomorrow.
There we go.
Microsoft are showing something.
Games. Yeah, so...
That was just 1 hour ago.
Hellblade indie.
Yeah. We've been on this for a while. There's one other thing we should probably segue to. We've kind of already talked about it a bit. But because I'm actually kind of running out of time. I've only got another hour, so we get to hurry up. Xbox did do their earnings call. Because we've talked a little bit about earnings calls, like EA, the Andrew Wilson stuff, the WB stuff. Sorry, not the WB stuff, the MetaQuest stuff. And the Sony CEO stuff, which is kind of tied to it. Xbox did their earnings call. Black Ops 6 did crazy well. Like, apparently it's like the fastest selling Call of Duty ever. Which is pretty wild. Given how much of a bomb Modern Warfare 3 was. And Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has had 4 million players. Which is like...
very low.
I wouldn't say it's very low. Because like, if it was very low, they wouldn't have brought it up at all. Because there's a lot of games, like, we have heard nothing on like Hellblade numbers, so those will probably be minimal.
Yeah.
But it's not like crazy good either. Given it's on Game Pass, it's 4 million total players, including Game Pass players. Can't imagine it sold very well. The Steam charts were not particularly good for it.
Probably sold okay.
It sold like probably like, yeah, mid.
And it's something for them to show on Game Pass.
Yeah. I will say I actually expected a bit more. Actually, I kind of didn't, because the marketing for it was kind of bad.
Well, and the newest Indiana Jones movies are just god-awful.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not good.
I think we talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah, because I said I was playing through the Platinum. I still haven't got the 1000G for that, by the way.
Yeah.
I actually haven't touched it since, so...
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to go back to it.
I'm actually quite close to it, so I'll probably just do it at some point. There is a DLC coming out that... I actually bet that DLC comes out the same day as the PS5 port.
Yeah, I could see it.
But
I can see that.
Yeah, it's apparently sold okay. Like, Forza Horizon 5 did like 20 million in that time. Halo Infinite did 20 million as well, but that was also free to play, so that's not really a great one-to-one comparison. The multiplayer of that was free to play.
Yeah.
Starfield did like 10 million in that time, and Starfield did okay, but it wasn't like a smash hit. So, yeah, Black Ops 6 did very well. Indiana Jones, yes, so. And obviously, I was going to mention Forza for PS5 here, but we've already talked about it. So, yeah, apparently Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5, which is probably like, think of like a game for PS5. That's probably it. Like, Hellblade is very Sony coded, right? In terms of its structure, in terms of its...
The first one was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, but Sony didn't publish it. It was self-published by Ninja Theory.
Yeah, but like they published it on PlayStation knowing that's the type of game.
The thing is with Hellblade 2, I actually think I said this in my review, it felt like a parody of the Sony first-party formula. Like, because they kind of have a reputation for being like walking sims, which is, in my opinion, a bit unearned. But Hellblade 2 was like, oh, this is actually like a walking sim that's like 70% cutscenes.
Yeah.
It's what people think Uncharted and God of War are.
Well, it's what God of War is, but...
No, it's way more cutscene heavy than a God of War. Like, way more cutscene heavy than God of War.
Man, I want some gameplay in my next God of War.
Yeah, but like, what I'm saying is, like... God of War is, like, way more gameplay. The balance is way more towards gameplay than Hellblade is. But
I think it's also it's a much longer game.
Yeah.
Bet you if they were stretched out to be the same.
Well, size. No, because like Hellblade doesn't have much gameplay at all.
Well, especially 2.
Yeah, I'm talking 2 here. 1 is actually like like 1 actually is a pretty good balance in terms of pacing.
I feel like 1 was like 8 hours, wasn't it?
Took me 9.5, but I did go for all the collectibles.
Yeah, so
no,
like,
not 9.5. 9 hours 10.
I remember finishing Hellblade 2 really quick.
It took me 7.5, but again, with all the collectibles. I got the 1000 G in both.
I think I was in and out of that game in like a day.
The problem with Hellblade 2 is it just wasn't good.
Yeah, I think I had a day off and I was done with it before dinner.
I do wonder how it will sell on PlayStation, because it is like kind of coded towards them, but also like it's almost a little bit too far towards walking sim interactive movie. Kind of closer to The Order than anything at God of War.
Yeah, but I like The Order. That's the difference. The Order. That's a news story that we didn't talk about.
Yeah, apparently they were going to make an Order sequel, but they cancelled it. I don't really care.
I care about that.
The
Order could have been a sweet franchise.
Yeah, but like, what we got was just kind of...
Honestly, we got a better Victorian setting in Bloodborne.
And yeah, it also came like a month before Bloodborne. It was like very close together, those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first couple of years for PS4 weren't particularly great. Like, Bloodborne, obviously, but beyond that, it was just like Order and Infamous Second Son, which is probably like the weakest Infamous game.
Oh, I just call it the Sony problem. PS3, PS4, and PS5 have just had horrible first 2 years.
I'd say PS5 had a much better first 2 years. Because they had Returnal, Ratchet, Horizon Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok in those first 2 years.
Two of those are PS4 games.
Yeah, sure, but that was because of the stock shortages. In fairness, they were not planned to be PS4 games. That they had to pivot because of...
Actually, didn't recently they got, like... I want to say Ratchet works on a PS4.
No, it was on a PC at PS4 specs.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, okay.
Although the loading times are pretty brutal, though, so...
I honest to God thought that it wouldn't work, but it still somehow ran.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
So, that's kind of what we got to say on the news stuff. A bit of a slower news week. I mean, episode 3 will probably lead with the state of play stuff, so that gives us stuff to talk about. Hopefully it's a good show. But yeah, a bit of a slower week, couple of weeks on the news. The WB game stuff is probably the most important stuff, which we already talked about.
The biggest thing is EA being dumb.
No, the biggest stuff is whatever the fuck happened with Wonder Woman, because a lot of people I know were really excited for that.
Because I haven't laughed at a story in a long time as much as I did at Andrew.
True. That you can just kind of yaff at. The WB game stuff is just fucking depressing.
It's sad.
Yeah. So, moving on. What we've been playing, watching, doing, whatever. Since you had last time with Dynasty Warriors, can I start?
Go nuts.
What?
Go ahead, go nuts.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what you said there. I have been playing Sniper Elite Resistance. That's the big one that I've been playing the last couple of weeks. I say that, but I basically only played it like 3 days. It's Sniper Elite. It's more Sniper Elite, which is kind of exactly what I said it was going to be. And it is. But I had forgotten just how much I do enjoy the Sniper Elite formula. Like, it is fun. It's fun. It's good, even. I did play the Sniper Elite 5 DLC in the couple of days before it released. So, actually, between episode 1 and 2. So, this is also something I've been playing. It's the DLC for 5. Which when I was playing that, I'm like, this is actually really fun. Like, I'm having a good time. It's kind of like that Hitman formula. It's not as good as Hitman, but it's kind of that same general oeuvre. Oeuvre? Fuck, I don't speak French. Say that, I'm going to Montreal tomorrow. But
I was about to say that as you go to Montreal.
Yeah.
But it's just more Sniper Elite.
Yeah, it is.
That's what you expected. That's what you got.
It is exactly what it says on the tin. It is, I will say, buggier. Very much a buggier game than 5 was. The story is the same level of quality as it was in 5, which is to say terrible. Very bad. Very basic. But not even like a well-executed basic, just a bad basic. Harry Hawker takes over the lead role instead of Carl, who's been the main guy in all of them. He is fucking insufferable. They're trying to go for the cocky English guy, like the Jason Statham. It doesn't work because, like, British people don't talk like that. We talk like that, but we don't say it in the way that he says it. It feels like an American putting on a British accent rather than a British person talking normally, right?
Yeah.
And again, it feels like an American imitating Jason Statham. But Jason Statham does it in a more natural way. So, he is actively annoying. He actively makes the game worse. But beyond that, it is just essentially a Sniper Elite 5 DLC. If you just want more of that gameplay formula, you know, you get 7 new maps, which is 1 less than 5, but you actually have the same amount of missions, but you go to one area twice, which is a bit of a cop-out. It is fun. It's a little bit more geared towards sniping than 5 was, which is a criticism that a lot of people had of 5, is like, you didn't have many opportunities to snipe. I was able to pull off some, like, 600-meter shots, so that was fun.
I remember playing Sniper Elite 5 and thinking that myself too. Like, man, there's not a lot of sniping.
It was much more stealthy, which I actually enjoyed because I enjoy stealth. Like, we don't get many stealth games these days, which kind of sucks.
I skipped 4, so I went into it wanting to snipe.
I did play 4. I think Resistance is actually a better game than 4.
Which, I mean, is fair.
I don't think it's a better game than 5, though. It's not much of a worse game than 5, but it's just kind of the same with a bit more bugginess to it. But that probably does kind of by default make it the second best, because 5 did make some pretty meaningful improvements, and this one just kind of continues that. It just more improvements
I still think 2 is my favorite.
Sorry, I'm miswording this. More of the improvements that were introduced in 5. They don't fuck anything up. They don't actually change much at all. So, I misworded that. There's hardly any improvements to this, but it does have the improvements that 5 introduced. Even the UI is, like, almost identical to 5's. Like, almost identical.
Again, it's fine. Like, 5 functioned.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Which is a bit of a weird one. It's like, where do I land on this? Like, I'd say, like, in terms of, like, the business model with this, it's a bit scummy. Like, this is $60. The same price as 5. It is out on Game Pass, because Microsoft gave them another bag. But, it's not, like, if you already own Sniper Elite 5, being asked $60 for this is pretty nuts. Like, if it was like a $20, $30 DLC, that would be more reasonable. That's what I thought it was
when it was announced. I thought it was a DLC. And then it turned out to be a full game.
It's a full game, but it's kind of like a standalone DLC. Think like Miles Morales or Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage. But like, even less ambitious than those are. Beyond that, the Axis Invasion mode is back, which, by the way, I think is actually a really cool concept. The fact that you can just, like, people, like, invade your game as an enemy.
Well, yeah, that's, what's it called, did that?
Dark Souls is, like, the main one.
Well, Dark Souls has regular invasions. There was, oh my god, that game that I don't like that you love. Holy shit.
What you want about?
How am I forgetting this? Oh man, it got like 9s and 10s and then everybody forgot about it.
Spider-Man 2? Zing.
Deathloop.
Oh, yes! I actually thought the invasion mode in that kind of sucked. That was like my major criticism of that. I think it's done much better in Sniper Elite, actually.
Yeah, but like that was their whole thing. So
yeah, that was like it was a big marketed feature of that, yeah.
So I think that games might have something like that more in the future because it is a really cool concept.
I actually really hated it in Deathloop. I thought it was really badly done there. Well,
because all it did mess up your progress.
Well, I was actually going to say that. I actually really disliked doing it when I was doing my solo stealth run in 5. So I actually turned it off pretty early on. Again, this is like 3 years ago now. When I did the first run I did of Sniper Elite 5 was a anything goes fuck it co-op run with Skittle Turtle. That was fun. We had invasions on for that, and it was a good time. It would completely fuck up any stealth we were trying to do, but
yeah,
it was fun. It was a cool feature. My major problem with it is it became very predictable at what point in the mission the guy would invade. It wouldn't just happen randomly, so the element of surprise really lost itself very quick. When it comes to resistance, I actually kept it off when I played the campaign, because I wanted to do a stealthy run. And, like, it just wouldn't work trying to do a stealthy run with this.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of intended to cause chaos, so in a way, I think it's actually a poor fit. But invading is still very fun. Being the guy who comes in to fuck up everyone's shit is a good time.
Yeah.
And I said that in 5, I said that in Resistance. It's also almost completely unchanged from 5. They've just basically taken the feature and just kept it. They haven't done anything with it. But it's cool. If you want to invade people, you can do it in Resistance. I don't know whether the issue I had with the way it was so predictable when going through the missions, I don't know whether that's been fixed or not, because I kept it off for my Resistance campaign run. Because, again, I wanted to do it stealthy. But, at least from an invader perspective, it's fucking identical. It's fucking identical. I
mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, in a way, that is very much a thing. Beyond that, the PvP multiplayer is back. It's still terrible. I hated it in 5. I hated it in 5. Again, pretty much unchanged. There are only 3 maps for the main modes, and only 1 map for the no-cross mode. So there's like a real lack of content in the Resistance multiplayer. But I played a few matches. It's the same. It's the same, which means I still hate it. I still think it's bad. Particularly No Cross. I just find it so dull. It's like, oh, you gotta stand there waiting for some idiot to peek his head out. And eventually, you're gonna get bored. So you're gonna be the idiot that peeks his head out. And then you're gonna get killed. I'm sure it has an audience. That audience is just not me, man. It's just very
audience
dull.
That likes Pawn, you know? The audience that just like, yeah, it's just, I'm just gonna sit here and then maybe I win.
Yeah, the other modes are a little bit better, but still, like, very campy. Like, it feels like it's the sort of game that actively encourages camping, and I just don't vibe with it. Again, also with 5, it's got a very small player base. That's also a real problem.
Yeah, well, it takes a bit to find a match. When you find a match, you're playing with the same people you were just playing with last time.
I didn't play enough of it in Resistance to know, but the lobbies were, like, often half full, and that definitely was a thing in 5. I kept encountering the same players.
Yeah, if your multiplayer game has less people online than Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, it's probably not healthy.
Oh no, Sniper Elite multiplayer has never been popular. Do not buy this on a multiplayer. I said that with 5, I'm saying it here. I just don't like Sniper Elite multiplayer at all. Like I said with the other modes, it's the same as it was in 5. But with the other modes, I'm like, okay, it's fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This, it's like, it sucked then and it sucks now. The only other things to mention is the survival mode, which again, actually the survival mode I haven't played. I haven't actually played that yet. But it is reportedly just unchanged from 5. So, just 2 new maps of it. So, again, can't comment, haven't actually played it yet, but don't expect anything crazy from it. The only other thing they added was the propaganda missions, which was, like, the one big thing they kept advertising as, like, this is the new thing we're doing. This is the one thing we're innovating on. It sucks. The propaganda missions suck. You know, like in the Arkham games, they have challenge maps?
It's just that?
Yeah. It's like, there's like a stealth challenge map, a few of them. There's a sniping challenge map, a few of them, where you just gotta snipe people. Very easy. And there's a combat one. There's only one of those, where you just gotta shoot a few people and a few tanks.
I think, like,
I got the
propaganda or resistance, I just think of the saboteur. And,
yeah!
Like, they should have done something like that, where maybe it's like a map and you have to sneak through and blow something up.
Yeah, I think these really suck. And the fact that it was, like, the one thing they, like, advertised as, like, the new thing, I think this kind of goes to show the level of budget this had. Like, this was the only thing they could come up with that was new, and it's bad. It's bad. It's just not good.
Yeah.
So, it's a shame. I did get 3 stars, the max rating, on all of them pretty quickly. There is no, like, leaderboards or anything, so there's, like, no replayability to it. Like, you'll spend, like, an hour or 2, and that's it. There is an achievement for getting it on authentic difficulty. I've heard that is the hardest achievement in the entire game. So, I'm not even gonna bother going for that. The actual high score isn't separated per difficulty. But there's apparently just an extra achievement for getting gold on all of them on authentic, so that is a thing that exists. But
it's kind of like how games have, like, you know, beat the game and then beat the game just on a different difficulty.
Yeah, but except for shitty propaganda challenges.
Yeah.
So
the one I can think of is in Halo, you can get the par score achievements and the par time achievements on any difficulty, but there's a separate one for beating it on the hardest.
Yeah, same vibes. So, taking a propaganda at the whole thing, I don't really know what to make of it. Which is, like I said, I didn't think I'd review this. And that was kind of the right call, because, like, I have nothing to say on this, with the exception of the propaganda stuff. I have nothing to say on this that I didn't already say in 5. My thoughts are almost identical to 5. And I actually quite liked 5. I gave it an 8 out of 10. So, this is probably like a 7.5, just because it doesn't fuck much up from 5. But I also begin to wonder, why does this exist? Like, why did they make this? It feels like a bit of a cash grab. Because, like, Sniper Elite is pretty popular. It's one of those, like, quietly popular franchises. Like, you don't really hear about it much in the discourse, but, like, 4 and 5 sold pretty well. So, like, I think Sniper Elite 4 got, like, 30 million players by the end of its life cycle. That includes a Game Pass run.
Yeah.
So, like, that's pretty popular, right? 30 million people is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, that's really good. That's insanely good.
Yeah. So, Rebellion co-developed this with Wushu Studios, who have basically just been a support studio for everything else. But here they get co-main billing. It's like co-developed between Rebellion and Wushu. I have heard rumors, I do not know how accurate they are, the vast majority of the actual work on this was done by Wushu. Because Rebellion are mostly working on Atomfall right now, which is out in March, so that's pretty soon.
I was say that's right around the corner.
Yeah. So apparently Atomfall was their main focus, and this was like their cash grab. This was like the cash grab they had to do so they could... I mean, Rebellion aren't like a major... They self-publish, right? They're not tiny, but they're not like a massive AAA publisher. Yeah. So if they had to fucking scam us with this so they could fund Atomfall and take the risky bet with the new IP, then fine, fuck it. If that's how the video game industry works in 2025 is whatever.
That's just how it goes.
It's not a bad game. If you want to do some sniping, it'll do the job. Go have a good time. Go and enjoy yourself. I had a good time, right? This is not a bad video game. I would go as far to say it is a good video game. But it's also a very lazy video game. And I don't say that much. I don't call things lazy often. Because, like, even, like, some dog shit. I wouldn't even call Suicide Squad lazy. Because that shit, they at least tried. There's not much effort in this. And this sounds really mean. But I do think it's a cash grab. But it's also a cash grab that you will get some enjoyment out of if you enjoyed 5.
Yeah, it's like the best version of a cash grab.
Yeah.
It's not like you're wasting... Yeah, it's not like you're wasting your time playing it. You're still gonna have fun.
I will say, if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking about doing it, play it on Game Pass. Don't spend $60 on this. Play it on Game Pass. I did have to pay the extra $10 for the Hit Your mission, as is tradition. That was fun. Probably the buggiest mission in the whole game, which is very unfortunate. But it is fun to snipe Hitler in the balls. What can I say? Ball. Sorry. Singular ball.
Yeah, it's worth the money.
Yeah. It's only like $10, so. Also some pretty easy Chivos as well, so. If you're into the Chivos, that's a pretty good way to do it. There's an achievement for doing that on authentic difficulty. And I never play Sniper Elite on authentic difficulty. I got that mission. I started the mission on authentic. I exited the mission with the Chivo in 1 minute.
Huh.
It's that easy to kill him. But obviously, like, the big fun of that is just finding the different ways you can kill him. But again, it's pretty buggy and his route can sometimes fuck up, so be aware. So yeah, I did that. I did the DLC for 5. Which, again, is pretty much the same. I have the same thoughts on the 5 DLC as I do on Resistance and as I do with the base 5. It's just more of it. Beyond that, the only other thing I've been playing is just NHL. Because I just play that when I have some free time. So, your turn. I know what you've been playing.
I'm actually going to start with Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, we're going back to that. We're going back to that. Okay.
I 100%ed Dynasty Warriors.
And?
It took 56 hours. I had a lot of fun doing it. The achievements get a little tough. Because you have to beat...
I've heard it's a pretty tough plot, yeah.
Yeah, you have to beat the entire game on the hardest difficulty. Which,
yeah, I'm not a big fan of those types of plots.
And it's like... It gets easier as you go, which is funny. because I actually screwed myself over because the first achievement I went through is basically beating the hardest boss in the game on the hardest difficulty without using any items. And once I did that,
the first boss you said?
The hardest boss.
Oh, the final boss. Okay.
So he's actually in the midpoint of the campaign.
Okay,
but after I did that, I did like one more mission. I got a really good item, and then I got a really good weapon, and I just stormed through the rest of the game. So I would say it's not the hardest, like 1,000 points I've ever got, but it's up there. And I'd say that game is very much worth it. And then Kingdom Come 2 came out.
Yeah.
I have lost a lot of time in that game.
Sorry. Do you want to bring up the gaff you did in our messages this morning?
I was looking at my save file this morning because I was talking to you about it, and my save file said like 46 hours or whatever.
43. I said 43.
Yeah, 43 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it kind of sounds off though, because you were talking about. You're like, I thought it was.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty long. That's kind of like the main deterrent for me actually playing this.
And I'm like, I thought it was longer too. And I checked Steam, like not in game, and it was like 76 hours.
I have that discrepancy a lot. If you like reload saves, it obviously won't count that. Or even if you just like have the game paused.
Yeah.
Some games won't even count cutscenes.
Especially in a game like this where like before I installed a mod that allowed me to save whenever.
Yeah, you probably would have lost a lot of time on that.
I did. I lost a couple hours.
But there's some games that don't even count cutscenes as in-game time, so.
Yeah, but the game is such an improvement over the first one. Like this...
I have heard universally positive stuff. Almost universally positive stuff. There's been a couple of deterrers. Guys who didn't enjoy it, but...
Yeah, and honestly, I can see when somebody goes, I didn't like it, I go, I completely understand. Because, like, there's going to be no spoilers, but at the start of the game, they do put you back to a lower level.
I heard that. They said that in the previews, that's not a spoiler.
Yeah, so, like, you are starting out basically fresh. So even if you played the first one, you don't have the same, like, sword abilities and stuff, because you learn combos and everything. But, like...
Aren't those, like, things you do, like... You level up your character by like doing things so that they make you smarter. So does the intro just make you dumb again or what?
No, you just take an injury and you're just out of it for a while. So it's fair because like the game takes place like a week after the first one. So like, you know, they kind of had to come up with something.
Yeah.
But from the beginning, like you're free after the first hour or so to basically do whatever you want, which is something honestly they shouldn't have done because I ran off for like 5-6 hours before I did the first real quest. And I was struggling to find a bed.
I've heard you can lock yourself out of quests if you take too long.
Yeah, you can. There's some quests that are timed. They tell you when it's timed.
Okay.
Like they make a very big point, and they tell you before you accept it that it's timed.
Okay.
So they're like, hey, if you have anything you need to do, go do it before you do this. But you can have a lot of fun just running around and doing stuff, leveling up. I got really into blacksmithing. I got really into like all the little side stuff, like fun and books and stuff like that.
It seems to have like a bit of an Elder Scrolls vibe to it.
Kind of, where you can go and you can meet new people and stuff. I will say the NPC interactions are better than anything Bethesda's ever done.
That's not a high bar.
Like, it is probably better than most RPGs. I'd say it's probably better than The Witcher.
The Witcher?
Just the way that you go to these different villages and you find these quests and you do the stuff, and you can play Henry as however you want, right? Like, you can just be a murdering psychopath. You can do whatever the fuck. So, I played pretty good. You know, most quests I did the good thing. Some quests I was like, in this situation, I don't think Henry would do that. So I'm gonna, you know, do the messed up thing here. But once you get in it and the combat clicks and you start to learn like a couple more abilities and stuff, and you get really into it. Like in the beginning, I was sword and shield. I had that shield up constantly, you know, just trying not to die because you get hit like twice, you're bleeding, like you're gonna die. I got so good at the combat, I dropped the shield. I'm walking around with a short sword, facing like 5 guys at once, and it's not a problem. And like that's okay. It's amazing how well they conveyed the skill of the character gaining in the game to your own gameplay. Because even if I had all those abilities right off the start, I wouldn't have been able to do any of it.
That's kind of it's kind of neat actually, yeah.
Yeah, the progression is so good combat wise, that it feels natural.
So you had a good time.
Yeah, I had a really good time. Like a really, really good time with this game. The characters are awesome. The story is really good. You meet a lot of historical characters, which is really cool. The main city, Kuttenberg, is the best city in any RPG I've ever been in. It's massive. It's real too. It's the actual streets. It is how that city is laid out today, which is so cool. And yeah, just like the crime system's really good. I got super used to the bow and arrow. It sucked at the start. I got really used to it. The horse riding is good.
Did you go gay?
Like, I did not go gay. I almost accidentally had gay sex once.
What a fucking line!
There was like this party and I'm talking to all these people and I like clicked the one option below what I wanted and it brought me to the other thing where he's like, well, let's go up to the room and get this over with. And I was like, no. Like, I like reloaded a save, like lost like 10 minutes because I'm like, I don't want to I don't want to do that.
Oh, that was also some fucking culture war shit. People got mad about that.
It's so easily avoidable. I will say that the main like gay romance is with a character who's basically he's like your bro. Like you go through everything together. They've always been just like best friends in the game. You fight a lot with them, but so it's really odd when it pops up because it just gives you the option, just like in a tunnel, and you can just be like, "Hey, man, you want to go at it?" And it's like, no, like, come on, dude, we're running away from people right now.
Most video game romances struggle from that. They never seem to find a natural point.
It's never at an appropriate time, like ever. I will say the other romances, there's two main
really
ones.
Struggled with that. Like,
oh, Starfield was brutal.
Just randomly chat with them and then like, okay, you want to fuck?
Yeah, no, I'd be like in a cave fighting pirates, and I'd like turn to give Sarah some weapons. And she'd be like, "I'm down right now." In this cave. I'm like, dude, get away from me. But the other two romances you can do in the game, there's two kind of main female characters that you can choose there. Were really well written. And it's like the progression of, especially Catherine, she's in the trailers, you see her a lot. She's right at the beginning of the game. So from beginning to end, it takes the whole game to romance her. And that one felt way more. That's probably one of the better video game romances in terms of pacing.
Okay.
But I will say, like, the characters are phenomenal. Like, you actually start to care, which is odd to say, because in a lot of games, like, side characters, when they die, I'm like, whatever. But, like, in this one, like, when something happens or, like, something goes down, I'm like, dude, is this guy okay? Or, like, I'm like, checking the NPCs, like, who got hit in that last battle here? And there's optional objectives too, and you can actually change. I think I told you this earlier, but I missed out on, I think, an hour, 2-hour quest because I refused to say something. And it just skips like a whole main mission because that never comes out to light until way later. So I want to go back and play it and make different decisions and see how much it actually does change the game. But it was phenomenal. It was so cool, and I especially like that because you are the son of a blacksmith. If you train your blacksmithing, that is the way to get the best weapons in the game, and people point that out. They're like, who made this sword? And you can be like, yeah, I made this. Like, you raise your blacksmithing skill, it pops up in dialogue all the time. The skill checks are really cool, how they do it.
That is pretty cool.
Especially, the three main ones are speech, noble, and dread. So if you're dressed like a nobleman, you can obviously pass those checks. If you're dressed like a nobleman, but you've been in a battle and you're covered in blood, your noble score will be down, but your dread score will be way higher.
That's the same as the first game had those systems as well, right? You had to
it's just been expanded a bit more. So I really, really liked all the different choices. And another thing I like in a lot more RPG studios should start doing this, make it so that the skill check isn't always the correct option. Because there's a lot of times where I pass a skill check and it results in a bad outcome. Because, like, the natural gamer thing is to click the number that you pass.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I actually kind of don't like that, actually.
Well, because if you're in a situation and it's like, there's like 4 people that stopped you on the road and there's a dread check where it's like, I'm going to kill all of you. And I just click it immediately because I passed the check. It's like, I probably could have talked myself out of this situation
right now.
Oh,
right. Okay, so it doesn't give you like a negative.
Yeah, or like
it's like a fail. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like a fail, but you succeed in doing it because you goaded them into it. Or like if you show off to, like, let's say you're talking to a noble guy and you start showing off like you pass a bunch of knowledge checks and stuff, they might like you less because they're like, that guy's a prick. He's a know-it-all. And I had that happen to me. Like I passed a bunch of skill checks versus this like high noble guy. And he's like, dude, I want nothing to do with you. And it changed the main quest for me. I was like, okay.
That all sounds pretty great. But the main reason I don't want to play it is because I've heard 2 reasons. A, I've heard it's really like arduous at times.
The saving, I think, is the biggest issue.
No, but also just kind of in a lot of its gameplay mechanics, like you gotta like, craft your own shit and stuff.
Well, crafting your own weapons is fine. Like you could just get it repaired. You could just use regular weapons that you find.
But also, like it's like
you have to eat, you have to sleep.
Game, right?
Yeah, you have to eat, sleep. You have to make yourself clean. But I will say they do use those mechanics in the story missions.
Okay.
Which without, like, I won't spoil anything, but like there is a mission that takes place over a few days, and like your condition gets worse during this mission. So like not only does the gameplay shift because like you're hungry, so you're not moving as quick. You have less stamina, so you actually have to like be really careful with what you're doing. Or like there's a mission where you get no sleep, so like you're sleep deprived, and it changes it up, which I think is really cool. So they use the mechanics properly. If they were just in there and didn't have any ties to any missions or anything like that, I probably wouldn't care for them. Like I'd mod them out, but they use them. They use them.
The other main reason I was kind of hesitant to play it is it's the yen. I've heard it's like 50 to 60 hours to just if you beeline the main story, and I've heard it's like 100 hours if you want to do everything.
I could see the 100 hours to do everything easily. I think the biggest problem with this game is that it's going to ruin other RPGs.
Well, my problem is I just don't have the fucking time for that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, but like I'm going into Avowed next, and like coming off of Kingdom Come 2, it's going to be hard for another RPG to impress me as much as this just did.
Yeah, I can see that, but I mean, the thing is with a game like this, if I play it 10 hours, I still don't really know much of it. I thought you've got to at least kind of play the story, and that's still like 50 hours.
The way it's kind of broken up, and this was in the previews, there's
two acts, yep, I know.
Yeah, so the first act is actually really short. So you could probably get through the first act in about 10 hours.
I've heard it's like 20.
Yeah, you can skip a lot of the side stuff there because it's not important. It's just to teach you like random shit.
So is the second act the bigger one?
The second act is far larger.
Okay.
Like I spent way more time in the second act than the first. The first one's just kind of get you acclimated. But if you finish the first act, you'll know everything you need to know about that game. Because everything that happens in the second act, gameplay-wise, you kind of do in the first act, just smaller.
Yeah, the problem is I still don't have time, so...
Well, God forbid you get addicted, you'd be canceling stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. There was a big old snowstorm here. Big old snowstorm. And, I was supposed to have a date. My girlfriend lives 40 minutes away. I'm like, I can't drive out in the snowstorm to come get you right now. And I was like, it sucks that our date was canceled. I get to play more Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Let's go!
And like 10 minutes after canceling the date, she's like, I could see you're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, at least stream it for me. So I streamed her the game. That was our date.
Oh, God.
It's fantastic. I've convinced like 3 people to give it a try.
Do you have any criticisms? Do you have any negatives?
I do. The saving system still sucks.
Yeah,
I don't like. Especially the game is not buggy. It runs extremely well.
I've heard it's like yes, buggy even the first one, but it's still kind of bug.
I got a couple, mostly visual with torches for some reason.
Okay,
I only had
if
2
you get
crashes.
2, I'm probably gonna get 200.
Yeah. I had 2 crashes, and that's when I modded in the ability to save whenever, because I didn't want to lose an hour.
I heard that was like a major problem in the first game. It's like it has a very arduous save system, and you also can't trust it to work.
Another problem I have is that there's some points in the game where I was like, they give you like the options of what you want to do. I'm like, I don't like any of these options. I don't think these make sense. I think this would be the other option, but that's just me. Axes kind of suck, which sucks because that's normally what I would use. That's what I used in the first game. I don't know. My biggest criticism that I have with the game, it's hard to think. It's not perfect, but it's damn well near. Cleanliness system could use a bit of an update because I think it's a little overtuned.
Okay.
Like I came out of the baths one time and walked past like a toilet, and my character's little thing came in the corner like, you smell now. I'm like, but I wasn't even close to it. Turn around, go back to the baths.
Oh, God.
There's stuff like that. But like, I had a glitch where the dog wouldn't stop barking. Because you can have a dog companion. You could just send him away, which is what I ended up doing. But he's so useful in combat, especially if you use a bow, because he'll just grab people's legs. And yeah, so it glitched out while I was talking to somebody in a very long conversation. So the whole conversation, there's just a dog barking right beside me.
That's so funny. But
it's stuff like that.
Okay. Would you recommend somebody play the first game first?
That's tough. It's a different region, and there's only like 8 returning characters, I want to say, total.
But I've heard it is like a direct sequel narrative.
It is. It takes place like a week after the first one. Like the codex explains the first game pretty well, but I would say either play the first one, watch a summary of the first one, because all you need to know is like who people are. You don't necessarily need to know all the in-betweens.
I feel like that's enough where I would like not play it unless I played the first one though.
Like all you need to know is like the characters' names and where they're from, because that's more important, is where they're from versus what they did in the first game.
Okay.
Like knowing Henry is a blacksmith from Skalitz, and Skalitz burned down, and that's why he's working with these guys. Like that's a line you should know. Or like Hans Coppola is a noble that was beside Skalitz, and now Henry is his personal bodyguard. Just stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like you just need to know that. It's explained pretty early on. And, you know, it's been a long time since I played the first one, but I remembered it quite clearly.
Okay.
I'd say, yeah, you could play the first one. You could probably blow through the first one pretty quick.
Yeah, I've heard the second one's longer, but I still heard the first one's like 40 hours.
Yeah, it's 40 hours if you do like a lot of stuff, but you can get through that game pretty fast.
Okay, so yeah, that's another thing. It's like, look, I'll probably play it if it wins Game of the Year, but like, which I don't think it's
my Game of the Year.
Yeah, it's February, man. It's February.
Yeah, but Dynasty Warriors was fantastic.
Look, I don't think it'll win Game of the Year because simply there's just so many heavy hitters coming up. But, I mean, that's even if GTA 6 doesn't come out this year, which, by the way, they apparently said that it will, but people were, like, misinterpreting that as, like, they're saying GTA 6 will 100% come out this year. Except it was in an earnings call, so it was more just a confirmation of status quo. If they were going to delay it, they weren't going to announce it there.
If GTA 6 comes out, I still think this game would have a shot. It's that good.
I don't think so, because like even beyond that, you've got Ghost of Yotei this year, you've got Fable this year, you've got Mafia, the Old Country this year.
But this one can be up for an award because you can have gay sex.
True, but
that's what Twitter told me.
I still think it's a little bit too niche to win like a mainstream award.
It could win Best RPG and not.
Yeah, maybe. Like it's. I think it depends on how heavy into the RPG systems Yotei ends up being.
Yeah, it depends on how good RPGs are this year, to be honest.
Yeah. Obviously, I can't think of many other RPGs set to come out this year. I mean, Fable, obviously. Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2.
We're off to a great start, though. That's 2 bangers in a row. 2 times I've spent my money this year, and both games were fantastic.
Yeah. Any movies? We only have like 20 minutes, but any movies?
I watched, oh my god, The Substance.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
It is. It's really good. Don't watch it if you can't handle gross stuff.
I've also heard that. It's off for Best Picture, I believe. It's only like the 7th horror movie ever to get a Best Picture nomination.
Honestly, I kind of want to win Best Picture. I didn't like it like
it's
that.
Not gonna win. It's not gonna win, but
I think it would just be hilarious.
But is it good?
Yeah, I'd say give it a watch. It's not the greatest movie. Like a lot of people said, it's the greatest movie ever made or whatever the hell. But no, it's just like a fun kind of time. I say fun, it's depressing, but it's a fun kind of time.
It's a fun depressing.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, that was interesting. I'm going to tell people about this.
Yeah, I've heard it's, again, it got nominated for Best Picture.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Invincible.
The new season?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Invincible's still good. Who would have guessed? I love Invincible. I read the comics forever ago. So the show is just the comics. They changed some stuff, but whatever. Like it's a good watch.
Yeah.
I'd recommend it.
Anything else?
That's it for me though.
Nah. Okay. What do you think does win Best Picture? Before we segue into what I've been watching.
What are the nominees?
The only 2 I've seen are Dune Part 2 and Conclave. I don't think Dune Part 2 will win. Conclave might. I could see Conclave win. I think it's either going to be The Brutalist or Emilia Perez. I've heard nothing but negative things about Emilia Perez, but the Oscars are like, it won like Best Musical or Comedy at the Golden Globes, so it probably wins Best Picture.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah.
Is it bad?
Yeah.
I've heard it's bad.
Yeah, I did not like it.
I've heard nothing but negative things on it, but the Academy are just swooning over it. It had like the 2nd most nominations of any movie ever.
That's crazy.
If it's not that, it'll probably be The Brutalist.
I've only seen 4 movies here on this list: The Substance, Wicked, Emilia Perez, and Dune Part 2.
You should see Conclave. Conclave is very good. Yeah, very, very good movie.
Nosferatu just not going to get a nom here?
Yeah, it's not Oscar type movie, is it?
Oh, it's in production design. I'm okay with this now.
Yeah.
They should win that. Great movie.
So I saw a few movies in the last 2 weeks, actually. The first one is Flight Risk. The movie about Mark Wahlberg hijacking a plane. But, it's not...
Like we gotta stop 9/11 too.
It's not good. It's not good. There was a really cool premise there with Mark Wahlberg being a deranged hijacker, pilot, hitman. Totally wasted. This is like sort of spoilers, but the movie sucks, so who cares? He gets caught in like 20 minutes. And after that, there's a couple of sequences where he like breaks free and they have a fight, and then he ends up caught again. But he does fuck all that movie. They really waste Mark Wahlberg. Much of it is just about the pilot trying to get there, and there's like a whole conspiracy because like the movie's about they're escorting a witness to a cartel, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, higher up is actually working with the cartel and wants to get him killed. And, like, I'm going to try and avoid spoilers for this. But the final scene in this movie is so dumb. So they land, right? They crash land, but whatever. They do land. And, like, the guy gets taken off to an ambulance because he gets stabbed by Mark Wahlberg. Who by the way, during the crash falls to his death. And just then gets run over by an ambulance. Which, like, okay. There goes Mark Wahlberg, I guess. Which, I guess I'm just spoiling the whole thing now, so whatever. I guess spoilers for a January movie that nobody's gonna watch, whatever.
They're like, we're out of money, get him out of here.
The last scene in the movie is the guy going in the ambulance. And, like, the main character of the movie, sees, like, some guy just mildly suspiciously walking towards it. So she runs to the truck, sees him, like, trying to suffocate the main guy, shoots him dead. And keep in mind, this is like a crash scene with loads of cops and ambulances around. And nobody cares that she just shot this cop dead. Nobody gives a shit. The movie just ends with, like, her and the witness embracing. And then, like, you just see people outside, like, okay. And then cut to credits. And then just cut to credits. It's such a dumb movie. And, like, January movies kind of have a reputation, you know, like the January movie. This is a quintessential January movie. It is serviceable, fine, could have been a direct-to-Netflix movie psyop with, like, no creativity in it whatsoever. But enough about Sniper Elite. You cut out there, what a shame.
Yeah.
You yapped and then just cut out. The other movie I saw was Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. This is a much better story. Did you see the original Den of Thieves? It was a while ago now. It was like 2018. It was a while.
Maybe, and I just don't remember.
I saw it in cinemas. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't remember much of it. It was just like Gerard Butler versus like trying to stop a bank heist. This one's much the same, except it's in Europe. This time it's in France, Nice. And the first one was like somewhere in California. This time he's going undercover with them. So it's from a very different perspective than the first one. The action sequences are actually very well done. Like it's a very competently made, directed film. It's not gonna win any Oscars, right? It's not like a crazy movie. But it is like actually a very solid action thriller. It's actually pretty good. Like, if people want to go see it, I'd say it's worth your time. I don't think you need to see I don't think you need to see the first one, because I saw it with my dad, and I asked him, did you feel lost at any point? And he said, no, not really. So, yeah, actually, it was like, it's been out for like a month now, and I think it was like the last week it was in theaters, because it was already out on VOD. So,
for any US listeners that don't understand, a dad going to see a movie, if they didn't fall asleep and they know like at least 2 characters' names, that's a stunning recommendation.
Yeah, no, he did not fall asleep during this one.
My dad has seen every Harry Potter movie, and in the final one, he's like, "Who's Voldemort?" Because he would pass out.
That is so funny. But yeah, if you want to see this in theaters, you've probably actually missed the boat, because it was already down to like 1 showing, which is, you know, a sign it's kind of at the end of its run. But yeah, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be out on Netflix in a few months. It's like a 4 out of 5. It's not like crazy. It's a January movie, but in a more positive sense than Flight Risk, which is more of a January movie derogatory.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I saw Seven, the David Fincher movie, Seven, that's like 30 years old. Great movie. Really, really good movie.
Wait, you never seen Seven?
No, I saw it for the first time.
Like What's in the Box?
Yeah, I saw that for the first time.
That's mind-boggling. That's a phenomenal movie.
It's a very good movie. I thought that was very good.
That's in my top, 3 movies.
I wouldn't go
2 of them are
far.
Kevin Spacey movies for some reason.
Yeah, I actually didn't know it was Kevin Spacey until the credits started rolling and they showed Kevin Spacey is the...
Well, he's young.
The thing is, there's a part of that movie where he condemns one of his victims because he thinks they're a nonce.
Yeah.
And he's played by Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. This is before all that.
Yeah, I know. That casting did not age well.
No.
Not age well.
But, yeah, it's like...
It's a very good movie. It's a very, very good movie. Very grim, though. Like, it's really relentlessly bleak.
I would say it's my second favorite movie of all time.
I wouldn't go that far, but I thought it was good.
Because I watched that movie religiously as a kid. I say kid, I was like 13.
I was going to say, I can't imagine an 8-year-old enjoying that.
I was like 13.
Okay.
My favorite movie of all time came out 2 years ago. And I just like that movie because I have a fun time with it.
What is it?
Tetris.
Oh, I've heard that's not bad, yeah.
Have you seen it? It's well worth a watch.
I have not seen it, but I've heard it's very good.
That's a movie I did watch recently with my girlfriend, actually. last week.
My favorite movie is, I mean, you could probably guess, it's The Adventures of Tintin.
Oh, yeah. No,
that's my favorite movie of all time.
That makes sense. You even bought the game.
That game was so disappointing. But, yeah, I adore that movie. My second favorite movie is probably Dune Part 2 from this year.
Oh, Dune was fantastic. Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think 2 is slightly better, though, but it's very much 2 parts of one whole.
I think Dune 2 was slightly better because I walked out of the theater and we were all just, like, screaming lines from the movie at each other.
Isan al-Gaib!
Yeah, like, that was the whole ride home. Just, like, 6 dudes in a minivan.
Yeah.
Just yelling that at each other.
But yeah, that's kind of all I've been watching. So, 3 movies, 1 game. Technically 2 if you count NHL, and technically 3 if you count the Sniper Elite 5 DLC. But, 3 movies, 1 game. The only other thing I want to bring up is I truly became a freezing gamer on Wednesday. I went to a football match in Canada in February. I'm a very smart man. I will say, it wasn't, crazy cold. It was colder than it was last year, when I did it last year. It wasn't, crazy cold. The game itself wasn't actually very good. They were playing a Mexican team, so the Mexican team was always very likely to win. They did win, 2-0. Both of the goals were actually really well taken, but the game itself was kind of just whatever.
Kind of surprising.
But
that's a little bit surprising that Mexico won there. I thought the weather would play in our favor.
No, I mean obviously it did for the national team a few years ago, but just the level of the golf and quality between the Canadian Premier League and Liga MX is just so strong. I say that the day after Calgary beat a Mexican team, so maybe not, maybe not. The second leg is tonight, actually, between Hamilton and Monterrey. So, yeah, if you're listening to this, you're probably 2 hours. It's 2 hours 26 in, so you've probably missed it, even if you listen to it as soon as this goes up. But that's all I've been doing. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, it's everything for me. I'm just waiting for Avowed now. I'm probably gonna do more Kingdom Come Deliverance II.
That'll be interesting, because the first 2 times we've been talking about different games that we've been playing. Next time we can talk about a game we've both been playing.
Both played, yeah.
Because I will be streaming Avowed. I will be reviewing Avowed as well. That'll be my first new review of the new year.
Because even Indiana Jones, we both staggered our playthroughs. You played it.
Yeah, I played it relatively fast. I would have played it even faster. I got sick. Really sick. When I was halfway through it.
Yeah, I put the controller down halfway through it and then came back 2 weeks later.
Indiana Jones is a bit of a weird one. It's good, but it's a game I'd recommend, but not a game I'd recommend. Oh my god, you gotta play this now.
Yeah, it's a game that if you have time.
Yeah. But yeah, I will be reviewing Avowed. I will be streaming Avowed. Comes out Thursday. I won't be able to stream Thursday. Hopefully, Friday evening is when I'm hoping to start.
Probably be in the stream chat for a bit if I get some time.
Yeah, you are not getting the deluxe upgrade for that, are you? So you'll be starting on the 18th.
Yes.
Which is a week from today. The reviews are out on Thursday, which is a very late embargo again, which is a bit concerning.
Which will probably be after a patch too. So if there's any glitches day 1,
the pre-order is still not up. It's out in 2 days. Review copies have been out for weeks, and the pre-order is still not up.
I will say, Kingdom Come and Avowed both gave out their review copies really early.
Which is good, because that has been a real problem in the last few years.
And I think that allowed the reviews... I think that made the reviews of Kingdom Come higher.
Probably, because you do enjoy games more when you are able to play them without stressing about a deadline.
Yeah, because you can actually sit down and go through it.
Yeah. I was listening to people say that do work in the review stuff and then get advanced copies. It's yeah, that actually really helped.
Yeah, because especially with a giant RPG like that, right?
Yeah, if I got a review code in early January, I probably would have actually played it. So yeah, but yes, I am actually glad I did not review Sniper Elite, because it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So
just Sniper Elite.
Yeah, it's a good podcast topic, but not interesting to review. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I will be reviewing Avowed. I am cautiously optimistic for it. I hope it ends up good. And I will be streaming it as well, so stay tuned. And beyond that, there's that Yakuza game out next week. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
I'm probably missing that one for a while.
Oh,
it's cool. I really like Majima. I really like Yakuza. I love Yakuza.
It's a busy time as well, though, because also Monster Hunter's coming out the week after.
Monster Hunter is going to destroy my life.
Yeah, the next few games for me, March is actually the month that's really busy for me, because you've got Split Fiction, Assassin's Creed, and Atomfall, like 3 weeks apart.
Monster Hunter might be so good that I'm going to miss games until May.
I thought you were going to play Split Fiction.
Maybe. If Monster Hunter is that good...
Oh, come on, man. It'll only be like 10 hours. Come on, you can take 10 hours.
You'll, like, contact me. I'll be like, dude, I'm in the hospital. I haven't eaten in weeks.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna head out, because I've actually got to go in 10 minutes, so...
Yeah, we got to sign off here.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys on episode 3, where probably the state of PA will probably be like, the main thing we talk about, but also Avowed. And, yeah. This thing still sucks, but I guess it doesn't suck that much because we got through 2 episodes. Peace out, everyone.
Better.
Oh, also, a big fuck you to Connor because the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I'm a Philadelphia fan. Always was.
Yeah, fly Eagles, fly.
Is that their tagline?
Yeah, it is. Fly Eagles, fly.
Fuck the Eagles.
I will say, I'm very happy to see Patrick Mahomes suffer. I'm very happy to see Chiefs fans suffer. I'm very happy to see Swifties suffer. It really sucks that we have to see Philadelphians have joy.
Yeah, that's... At least California got to have joy when Kendrick showed up.
They're not like us. They're not like us.
I know we're Canadian, so we're supposed to back our guy, but...
Fuck Drake. I've always hated him.
Drake,
I've always hated him. Like... this isn't a particularly big defense of Kendrick, because, like, his music's fine. I don't mind him, but, like, I don't know much about him as a person. I've always found Drake to be an asshole.
Sufferable?
Yeah. So I was actually pretty happy to see his downfall. I thought the halftime show, apart from the Not Like Us stuff, wasn't great. I thought it was pretty yo energy, actually.
I'm a big Kendrick fan, so I liked every second of it.
That's fair. I just found it was, like... kind of, it's a good music, but not a good stadium music. It didn't really have the crowd going crazy. Except when he said A minor.
It was a little bit of an odd choice for Kendrick to do the Super Bowl. I will say that.
He did it a few years ago, but he did it in like an ensemble with 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg.
It should have been Lil Wayne doing it.
I've heard a lot of people say, because New Orleans is his hometown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah. I didn't enjoy the Super Bowl. It was a terrible game. Like as a game, as a neutral watcher, it would have been terrible. But I just enjoyed seeing the Chiefs get fucked. So, yeah, I mean the final score ended up like 40-22, but like that makes it look a lot better than it was because the Chiefs started scoring in garbage time.
They were celebrating far before the game ended.
They were celebrating in the third quarter. Yeah, it was 34-0 at one point.
They were pouring Gatorade over each other.
Yeah, they did that with like 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, but I am happy for Jalen Hurts because he's been a very good quarterback and he made the Super Bowl a few years ago and lost to the Chiefs. I'm happy to see him finally get his moment. But
get your ring.
Yeah. Next time.
And with that, we'll actually sign off.
With that, we'll actually sign off. And yeah, next time. 4 nations facing off!